I'm out. I'm out of words. I'm out of words. Sitting here with Benji Riddles. We just watched that game together. I I don't know what else to say about a basketball team that has become something greater than a basketball team. My dad, shout out to my dad down in Florida, texted me at the final buzzer. He said, "You got any superlatives left?" I just texted him back, "Nope." I'm really struggling right now, Benji, because I don't. We watch sports for entertainment. They're a distraction. Life is hard. You know, you're a parent of small children. You have a full-time job in addition to all of this, as do I. Life is hard. Sports are just supposed to be something to take our mind off of what it is that we do the rest of the day when the rest of the day gets hard. And they give us a sense of community, and they give us a sense of belonging. Sports are not supposed to make you believe in, like, you know, otherworldly powers and and magic, and like I'm just really, I don't know what else to say about this team other than that they are the most important and most special team that I have ever watched, and I've been watching sports for over 30 years. Take it away, Benji, please, because I've finally gotten to that point. I have finally gotten to that point. I all I ever wanted was a chance to be the guy in this seat and to describe these moments. And what has this team done to me? They have put me in a position where I can't summon up the proper terminology. It should not be. All I keep coming back to is the same thing. It should not be possible. There's nothing about this that should be possible. It defies all logic and expectation and sense. It doesn't make any sense. And yet we keep watching it happen. And it is happening.
I want to echo a lot of that, and I'll describe it maybe in a bit of a different way. Sometimes I'm brought on here as a quote unquote X's and O's guy, and I started this one. We watched it together on a watch along, and I'm trying to describe coverages and different ways to play it. You know, in the first few possessions, you can kind of see the way teams are adjusting and how the adjustments are going. Like, that's normal playoff series stuff. That's like physical basketball that you can articulate and describe, that I pride myself on articulating and describing. And somewhere middle of the second quarter, once Jalen Brunson leaves the game, it morphed from that describable basketball game into what I only can really describe as a spiritual basketball game, where I couldn't really describe what I was seeing, nor could I articulate any strategy or X's and O's. It became a spiritual game that went beyond anything I could say about it. It was a spiritual performance. It defied any basketball logic. That's the term I've been using with this team. It defied basketball logic. And I think maybe the most powerful thing you can say about it is to admit that you can't really articulate what that was. Is to have the humility to say, like, sometimes, yeah, sports is that escape, and sports is the community and the sense of belonging. Sometimes sports is spiritual. And that's the real beauty of it, I think, is sometimes you get to a place where it is beyond comprehension and it's beyond articulation. So I'll sit here with you and try my best to articulate it, but with kind of that additional point of, that's spiritual, man. That's beyond what I could describe.
Well, in that case, I'm happy I'm on here with you because you're the most spiritual person I know. Yeah, look, we'll talk about dedication, man. Nobody loves this team more than you, but you are a spiritual person, and you honor that spirituality in ways that I know are difficult for you at times. And so it is only fitting that that team that you love so much gave you some of that spirituality back tonight, in a way that you're like they didn't need to do. Like that's the thing that we keep coming back to, right? Like I feel like I'm not gonna try to get way off the beaten path here, but like I don't know, man. As anyone who knows my love for Tom Thibodeau, really where it originates from, it's because I am someone who believes in life that in a world that is increasingly dependent on what excuse can I find for this or what new excuse can I find for that. It is a world of excuses, or it is a world of get out of jail free cards, and it has become a world where it's like, okay, how can I get the gotcha? You know, how can I get out of this without having to do the thing or whatever? That's not the fabric of New York. It's not the fabric of this coach, but this goes so far beyond coaching. Tom Thibodeau can't put himself in the body of Josh Hart and Dante DiVincenzo and Jalen Brunson and Isaiah Hartenstein and all of these guys and make them do what they did to bring home this win. They had to do that. And I don't, again, they had every valid excuse not to. We're not talking about fake excuses, which is more than enough of in the world. They had every valid excuse to do it and to just pack it in and say, listen, it's not our night. You know what? Probably ain't our year. Let's just get healthy into the offseason and let's go into, and let's do what we do next year. And they just don't take the bait. And I don't know, man. And I feel like we have to talk about where they go from here at some point before we get out of here. But, like, I don't really want to do that. And yet I feel like we need to.
I mean, where sentences might fail, let's try with prose, a little poetry. I don't know.
Please.
This was, I think, the anniversary of the Willis Reed game. Date-wise, is that what they said? Did I miss that?
I'm gonna double check it right now
because I was watching the broadcast on like mute because Reggie Miller was on it.
What's the question?
Wasn't this the real Willis Reed?
It's 50 years to the day of the Willis Reed game. I thought you guys would have. Yeah, absolutely.
You can't write this. I mean,
no, you can't.
The guy walks out at halftime to MVP chants. My buddy who was at the game sent me a video, roaring MVP chants as he emerges from the tunnel to shoot some free throws and get warmed up for a second half. I don't know what's going on with him. Who knows what condition that foot is in after what he just did and played the entire second half.
Can I give you the quote that he said?
I'd love to hear
it. He was asked about his foot after the game. This courtesy of the great New York basketball Twitter account. I'm just happy I did. To be honest with you, we found a way. That's it. I'm being ready for game 3. I'm going to try to be. So he didn't elucidate much.
On the anniversary of Willis Reed's re-entrance, I mean, it's like there's I say spiritual. There's something going on, man. There's something going on. Like I think we'll get to a point where we break down the game.
Let's spit some facts. How about that?
Please.
You want to spit some facts?
Let's hear it.
Josh Hart has not sat. Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong. The last time Josh Hart sat was in the second quarter of Game 6 against Philadelphia. Is that correct? I'm pretty sure that's
46 minutes against in Philadelphia, but that's after following a 53-minute performance against the Sixers in Game 5.
So Josh Hart has averaged over 48 minutes a game for the last 4 games.
Yes.
So there's that. Josh Hart tonight played 48 minutes and almost had a triple-double, 19 points, 15 rebounds. Josh Hart had 15 rebounds. And he had 7 assists. We'll go there first. Dante DiVincenzo. Do you realize how many points do you think Dante DiVincenzo finished the game with?
24?
That would be 28.
Jeez.
28 points. He was 6 of 12 from 3. By far the most threes I think he's put up in a game this postseason, unless I'm completely forgetting something. And boy, did they need. You felt in the second half that there was just a few things that were going to need to happen for this to happen. And Devo firing away with reckless abandon from 3 was one of those things.
Yeah, and I'll take that a step. When Jalen was out, and I know they ended up down 10 at the half, which at least was reasonable, even though I thought they played horrendously during that stretch, especially defensively. But Devo was just, he was in that mode like he played in Dallas when Brunson was out, where it was like, all right, well, no one else is out here, so I'm just gonna shoot pull-up threes and hope a couple go in, and they did. And at least kept them somewhat attached. And then they went on that bonkers run to start the third quarter. So yeah, we needed every ounce of that Devo offense to stay where we were and then to pull away in the second half.
Next, I'm going to go to Isaiah Hartenstein. 39 minutes, the most he has played. It may be the most he's played. No, he played probably more pre-Achilles. It's definitely the most he's played since the Achilles.
Well,
but he still had 2 Achilles?
There were some minutes that caused the Achilles, and then since then they've protected the Achilles, and now we're back to not protecting it anymore.
No,
so, yeah, here we are.
No, he's going to lose the other one. He's not going to have any left. He's going to be 0 for 2 pretty soon. Again, as they were saying on the broadcast that I got peeved at, 14 points, 12 rebounds, including 4 on the offensive glass, 8 assists, a team-high 8 assists, nearly matched. Man, TJ McConnell had 12 assists tonight. My lord. We could
and Hartenstein with unbelievable hustle plays down the stretch, including diving on the floor for an offensive rebound that got off Halliburton to maintain possession, and an unbelievable defensive rotation to a Miles Turner 3, forced him into a step back. The defense in the fourth quarter was unbelievable.
They had to have enough of those possessions to win this game because they couldn't just do it on all. I know they scored 130 points. They needed to have enough of those possessions, and you felt like over the second half, how many truly high quality defensive possessions that they finished off with a rebound were there? Were there like a dozen? More than that? Am I underselling it?
No, that's what it felt like. Yeah, I mean,
right. But that's what they needed. They needed that many.
Yeah.
Maybe got lucky a couple of times, but
and it counteracted the second quarter, where again, it didn't seem like they had any plan. There wasn't even a possibility of not giving up a wide open shot for about 12 straight possessions to end that quarter. They were absolutely destroyed, and it was like, can they find any defensive traction? And they did. Third quarter.
Next, we're going to go to OG Anunoby, who I don't want to start. I feel like I've been holding back tears already, and I don't want to start talking about him because I'm going to cry tears for a different reason. He gave it everything. He was everything for this team for the first half, for most of the first half. They probably do not. Here's an interesting one. If OG Anunoby doesn't have the half that he had, and this isn't a 10-point game at the half, but this is like an 18-point game at the half, do they send JB back in? Now, knowing this team and knowing this coach and knowing that player, forget the coach, forget the team, knowing the player, just knowing the player, they'd be down 30, and Brunson's going to want to come back in. But I wonder if there wouldn't have been some jockeying as far as what the decision would have been there. OG Anunoby with the half of his life and finished in 28 minutes at 28 points, including 4 of 7 from downtown, and really towards the end there in the second half made some defensive plays, which is like, look, it's the defensive plays that OG Anunoby makes. And now I'm just sitting here and I'm like, so many thoughts going through my head about him moving forward. I want to get to those let's get to those in a bit. Just focus on tonight. OG Anunoby, your thoughts.
Yeah, like the Knicks, have one offensive creator traditionally right now, and that guy got hurt, missed about a lot of the game. And OG, we've seen it. I mean, he's shown it now to us throughout really since he came along. Like he has a way of manufacturing enough buckets that it's not going to look pretty. It's going to be some kind of power awkward drives and some mid-range step backs. And I thought he was rightfully trigger happy from three tonight, like just kind of letting it fly in a way that I haven't really seen. Just manufacturing points that they desperately needed, and he was having a tremendous offensive game. And it's like there are certain injuries that you don't never know why it happens. Like hamstring injuries are like very classically and traditionally due to just like fatigue, like your muscle just doesn't have it anymore. And like he barely sat. And he was moving more on offense than he's certainly used to moving. Just tremendous effort and will, and without him, they don't win this game. So It's super unfortunate that he couldn't finish it. We're praying that he has more to give in the series. I'd take that,
I'll go a step further. Look, they have to win 2 more games. Indiana has to win 4. We have to win 2. I have to get it. I want to save the Brunson. Let's stay on here. Let's stay here for a second, then we'll get the Brunson. If OG Anunoby doesn't play again in the series, can they win the series?
Yeah.
Okay. I think so.
Not easily, but yeah.
Okay. If you told me he was going to be ready for, again, you guys know me who are watching. I never do this. But, like, in a theoretical next round, if the Knicks are able to win 2 more games, theoretical, we're not there yet. If you told me he was going to be ready for game 1 of the next round, I would sign for that right now. With the caveat that, like, in signing for that, I am also signing for the possibility that we may not make it to the next round, because if we don't have him back, maybe it decreases your chances of being able to win in this round. I understand that. I'm just saying, for me right now, like, I would, if you were like, you're not going to see OG Anunoby until game 1 of the next round, but you will see him for game 1 of the next round, but you won't see him before that, and you're going to take whatever comes with that. Maybe you get out of this, maybe you don't. I would sign for it. That's me right now, not knowing what we don't know. So I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Hamstrings can be weeks. Like it depends on the grade, and I don't know if there's been any. I doubt there's been any
reporting. Said he has nothing.
Yeah, and I would guess that he'll be questionable, as you said on the watch along. Whether they amputate the leg or whether he's totally fine, he will be questionable going into game 3.
He could be in a coffin right now, and he will be listed as questionable for the next game, Benji.
Yeah, so these guys are giving it everything. They're dropping one by one, but we're still standing and still winning games somehow.
We could be sitting Shiva for OG Anunoby, and Tibbs will be out there saying it's all medical, guys. I have no update. Sorry. That's a question. Did I lose you there? I think I lost Benji.
No, I'm here. I'm ready. Sorry. Whew. I have some bourbon.
What else are you supposed to do? Okay. We hope OG's back. I agree they could win the series if he does not come back. You know what? We're going to get all the other stuff out of the way before we get to Brunson, and then I'm going to take solace on you because you have a job. The bench. By the way, some numbers. The guy who we haven't talked about yet, who is an actual literal superhero, plus 26 in a game they won by 9. Isaiah Hartenstein, this is not a misnomer, plus 21 in a game they won by 9 in 39 minutes. So that means for the 9 minutes that Isaiah Hartenstein sat, they were outscored by 12 points. That doesn't feel like an accident. Deuce Pride, 20 minutes. He was a minus 22 in those. Now, look, that's a big number, and I don't know is that fair to Deuce to tag him with the minus 22 in 20 minutes. Precious, 28 minutes, minus 14. Now, Precious did redeem himself late. And I think let's go there next. Watching them late with Precious at the 4, you were reminded of the month. Really, it was a month where that's the lineup we had, and they made it work. They made do, right? Like again, there were times where it was untenable. I'm thinking of the first Sixers game of the back-to-back. I'm thinking of the Laker game that we watched together. I think there's one other game where it was real. Oh, the Warriors game where they couldn't score for 8 minutes or whatever it was. There were times where it was untenable. Against this team with this defense, right? You see where I'm going here. So talk to me about Precious.
Yeah, and I wanna tag in our brilliant colleague DJ, who talked about, and he hadn't checked the numbers yet, but I have a strong suspicion he's correct that Precious's offensive rebounding prowess really shines when he's at the 4. Yep. And he can crash from the corners and crash from the wing, as opposed to when he's matched up with a center and has to just outmuscle him, which he's not a big center. And man, he came up with a couple of massive ones. Just hungry for the ball, and yeah, the enabler of everything we're talking about. The great enabler was the Pacers defense, which frankly, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what the plan is.
Do they know what the plan is?
If Aaron Nesmith helps off of Dante DiVincenzo one more time, I want to get to the Pacers in a second, but what was I talking about? Precious. And a couple key stops on Siakam late, which we've seen. Like we saw that in the regular season. So redeemed himself late, and they just needed him. They needed him to be better. It was really a struggle throughout that game on both ends. Like he was okay on offense. He just doesn't provide all that much. But defensively, you expect him to really shine, and I thought he was exposed at times. Not attentive at times. So that has to change because he's going to be relied upon. Whether OG comes back or not, he's going to be relied upon.
Can I make a prediction?
Sure.
I'm setting the over-under at Precious Achiuwa minutes for game 3. I'm assuming OG. I don't know. He's not playing game 3. I'm setting the over-under at Precious Achiuwa minutes for like 40 and a half.
Yeah. Yeah.
You figure you're going to get Sims for – you're going to get Sims. You're going to get Sims for some time in game 5. But again,
I think either right. If it's probably Sims and you play Achiuwa at the 4. What you could do is do the Burks thing, but that somehow finds a way in 30 seconds to blow a rotation and miss a mid-range jumper that he shouldn't have taken.
Played 1 minute in the game, Benji.
Yeah.
Played 1 minute in the game, and Tibbs was like, "We're good."
Weird choices there. Also, I don't know what exactly that was such chaos in that second quarter. I'm not really sure how to process it or why the rotations were what they were. Regardless, Precious, they'll just need him to kind of zone in defensively, find his game, and offensively, just offensive rebound, make your passes, score on the roll, which he did once or twice, and that's all. That's it, and that's enough. And as you say, the Pacers aren't necessarily a team that can really expose your lack of spacing. Now they'll do more of it. Like once they have a chance to really game plan for it, I'm sure you'll see them clog off of Precious. So that's something to look out for in game 3, but you can still score on this team because the matchups aren't good enough for the Pacers, and Brunson can just get wherever he wants to get on the floor.
So I have a sneaking suspicion. I obviously don't know anything, but just if you ask me personally to bet on it right now, even odds, does Jalen Brunson play in game 3? I will bet no. And I wonder, what would you bet? Let me ask you.
I bet yes.
You bet yes. Okay, so we disagree. If he didn't, this could be a complete waste of a few minutes. But let's just go with it for a second. If he didn't, would it not at least be an opportunity for Tibbs to, over the course of 48 minutes, to be like, all right, let me figure out what do I have in Shake Milton? Because I would think at that point, that's the next guy to dust off and be like, all right, well, let's see what it is.
He's at least played in playoff games before. He's like an NBA.
He's
played in the NBA.
He's an NBA player. Right?
Maybe. I'm not sure he's an NBA player anymore, or maybe like he's a borderline. Fair. He's a borderline NBA rotation player, and he has played in playoff games. So that is enough right now. Like throw him in there.
Just to and then I keep thinking, okay, give Burks a chance to show what he could do. Burks at this point is like, he's almost like a wrestling heel that is like coming in and his whole
a saboteur.
like, you know,
he's like Jonte Porter. What are you trying to say?
But it's like, but you couldn't have written that. Falling asleep on a closeout, and then on the next possession, oh wait, hold on, wait, hold on. You mean I could walk into a contested 18-footer?
Just off the bench? Haven't touched the ball yet? Let's get right into it, baby.
The ball in a month. Let's go. But I want to at least kind of go through all of this because
Daquan Jeffries, is that crazy?
Who
are the actual available players? Who's on the roster?
Daquan Jeffries, Shake Milton, Jericho. Well, I would be shocked if we did. So I'm gonna go through the minutes. I promise we're getting to the Brunson love, and then we're gonna get Benji out of here. And then I need to remind myself of this person's first name, Mamadi
Diakite. Yeah, but
Diakite.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna play.
I just said the name Mamadi Diakite on a Game 2 Eastern Conference semifinal post-game show.
This is where we are.
So here's the thing.
It's crazy.
I love Tibbs more than anyone. And if I was like a logical person, I would be like, well, wait a minute, hold on. Why are we not killing the coach? These guys are literally dropping like flies. And then I go back and I try to do what I always try to do, which is put myself in Tibbs' shoes. And I'm like, okay, what are my options? And I look at my options and I think about my options. And then I'm like, okay, so if I roll the dice roll is that essentially I'm going to play these guys when I'm going to play these guys, and I'm going to bet that they don't pull some sort of muscle or do whatever. Is that roll of the dice worth it? That's the question. It's like the notion that he's sitting there and be like, well, no, they'll be fine. No, I don't think that's it. I think this man has a stack of chips on the table, and he's like, I got this is my hand. Do I want to push it or do I not want to push it? And it's like, there's no right answer. Right? Tell me if I'm missing something, because I'm always pro Tibbs.
No, you're not. Look, I recommended playing Burks in game 1. I thought that was the right move. And I hesitate to judge.
Maybe it still is.
I hesitate to judge everything off of 1 minute, but we're not just judging it off of 1 minute. We're judging it off of 20, 30 games.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting point that you make. Like, if Brunson doesn't play, so OJ doesn't play all these guys and see, can anybody give me something? Daquan Jeffries isn't beyond giving you some decent minutes. He's a wing. He can guard a little bit. It sounds insane, but like,
no, it's not at this point.
Literally now we're coming down to like, there are no bodies left.
This is where we are.
No bodies. This is where we are. So you need somebody just not to kill you for 3 minutes. And who's the best guy for that? It might not be Brooks because he's too volatile. It might be someone like Jeffries who like maybe will just like pull off like a Haywood Highsmith, just like play good defense and go to the corners and maybe make a shot once in a while. It's not insane.
Stand in the corners. Worst case scenario, they play off you 15 feet. You throw the ball. You get the ball. Okay, what's the next? What do I do? I'm going to put the ball on the floor. I'm going to drive the rim. If they come and converge on me, I'm going to attempt to make a pass.
It's not crazy. It's not crazy.
He's an NBA player.
He's an NBA player. He's shown,
and he can defend. And he can defend.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Maybe that's what game 3 is for. We'll see who's available. Like it's just like something just tells me.
I know
they're just gonna need some minutes here. It is insane, and maybe it's just like the Nova boys are indestructible and they'll carry us to the Eastern Conference Finals, playing 48 minutes a game. It just seems totally insane, and I'm not blaming the coach. Because I'm not blaming the coach because he's gotten us here and the hand is what it is. Does this like bring out some of his tendencies that are troublesome and like you worry a little bit about where it's going to go? Yeah, I think that's also a fair assessment where it's like, okay, buddy, like at some point there, it will run out of steam. I think when the Garden's not behind you and you're in Indiana, and they're not raining you with MVP chance at halftime when you're on 1 foot and the adrenaline's not at 300 gazillion %. You just need someone to give you 4 freaking minutes. One guy we didn't get to is Deuce, and Deuce needs to provide more than what he's providing so that he can play longer and give you more. That's essential.
Part of it. He's been through now 1.5 playoff rounds He is. This is the most disappointing game from a single player, I think, that we've had.
Ooh.
I mean, Brunson was pretty rough on the first 2 games. Let's call it like it is.
DiVincenzo had a couple clunkers.
DiVincenzo had a couple clunkers, absolutely.
That you might be right. And is he the guy that's given you more than you ever could have expected this season and in the first round? And so it hurts. It hurts.
It was the Deuce McBride game.
It hurts to say it, but he was very bad in this game. TJ McConnell is absolutely demolishing him, which is a carryover from the last game they played in the regular season. He cannot stay with him. And that's a problem when you're a second unit guy and you're going to match minutes with TJ McConnell.
TJ McConnell plus 10 in a game his team lost by 9.
So can we shift? Can we shift to the Pacers for 1 second? Because
sure,
I really want to ask you this question.
Yeah.
At what point, and is it now, does Rick Carlisle say, "Wait a minute, my starting lineup's getting absolutely demolished. Obi Toppin and TJ McConnell have been unconsciously good." Not to mention Shepard, who's making shots, but okay, not necessarily the answer. But like Stan Van Gundy was saying it on the broadcast. I heard him 4 different times say, "How is TJ McConnell not finishing that game?" And then just what about Obi Toppin? I mean, Obi Toppin's been arguably your best player through 2 games in this series.
Well, Halliburton in the first half was the.
It's not for Halliburton.
Incredible.
It's not for Halliburton. I think it'd be crazy to leave Halliburton on the bench. He's your franchise player. But Nembhard and Naismith seem to have earned like automatic finishing status. And Naismith just hasn't been very good on either end. Nembhard's a very good player. I don't know. I'm wondering if Carlisle at some point says, "Wait a minute, those 2 guys have been outstanding. I cannot take them out of the game."
So this is where I think organizational politics comes into play because Miles Turner is your organizational fixture. He's been with the franchise for 9 years.
I didn't mention Isaiah Jackson, to your point. Yeah.
Isaiah Jackson's been awesome. So I think you're not. I just don't know that there's a world where Miles Turner plays less than he's playing right now. He played 31 minutes tonight.
I'm really just saying it would be.
You're talking
Toppin
about
and McConnell for
Nembhard
and Naismith.
That might be it. And Shepard, by the way, 3 or 4 from deep tonight.
I
don't know, man. How desperate are you to win this series if you're Rick Carlisle? I guess that's really what the question comes down to. Versus
that's a fair question. I mean, look, I think there are some diminishing returns with maybe both guys. I think certainly Obi, like one of the reasons he's so effective is because he can just run up and down for those 8-minute spurts as opposed to.
He had 20 points tonight on 10 shots.
He was exceptional.
Awesome.
He was exceptional, and it's not just the shot making. He's doing everything: the cutting, the passing.
Switched on to JB for one key possession. JB got the shot off. It was
He'll have a couple defensive lapses a night. He will, but like overall, he's been exceptional. You cannot say enough about what Obi Toppin's done for them. And like now that's 2 straight games where your closing lineup failed to do the job. You have 2 guys playing out of their minds. It's just a question. I just wonder.
Failed spectacular. Tonight was, if you're a Pacer fan, I'd be very curious to see what Caitlin has to say about this. That was like a spectacular failure. Hold on. Rick Carlisle opened his press conference tonight addressing the 29 plays the Pacers thought were called incorrectly in Game 1 but didn't submit to the league and criticizing Josh Hart's shove of Tyrese Halliburton tonight. And he said, "We deserve a fair shot."
Oh, wow. So that devolved quickly because I gave him a lot of credit for not throwing the refs under the bus in Game 1. See, that's weak to me, though, again. I get it. I think the refs had very little to do with what just happened out there.
I don't know how you're supposed to watch what the Knicks just did in the second half and then pin that game on.
The hard shove on Halliburton on that offensive rebound that got called, is that the one he's talking about? Or is there another shove that I'm not?
No, I don't remember it. We were watching that game pretty intently. I don't know.
Because that was like, I mean, that was I thought it was a foul, but it wasn't anything egregious.
Whatever. Okay. So look, we'll see about the Pacers, what they do. With everything up in the air the way it is right now, like I'd be shocked if the Pacers didn't win Game 3. It's just a matter of like kind of how Game 3 goes. But then again, who the hell knows? I don't know. They're a young team. You don't know how they're going to respond to 2 straight losses in Madison Square Garden. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
It'll probably be a close game with 5 minutes to go. Nothing matters. Nothing matters.
It doesn't. Whether Brunson and Obi play or not. Okay, let's Anything else you want to say about anybody non-Jalen Brunson?
Let's talk about him.
All right, let's do the autograph player of the game, Andrew. Can we get that up there? We'll start our segments here. I just put Andrew on the spot. There we go. So our player of the game presented by Autograph. Don't forget, download the Autograph app, use code KFS, and get rewarded for your Knicks fandom. If you've been following the Knicks Film School Twitter account, if you're a newsletter subscriber, I've been putting some stuff in there too. Autograph been giving away awesome stuff. They gave away like a Deuce jersey. They gave away $24 tickets to the last round. They gave away a pretty good deal on some tickets to game 1 of this series. They're going to keep giving away more stuff. Keep following us, but most importantly, download that Autograph app and use that code KFS. Again, you'll be rewarded for your fandom. You could read my newsletter and you'll get credit for it as opposed to just reading the newsletter. You could listen to this podcast and get credit for it. All stuff you do anyway. Okay. I don't know how I'm going to attempt to do this. It's 54 years since Willis Reed. In that time, this organization has had, I know it's been a lot of dreary years, but they've had a lot of special players. Obviously, Willis and Clyde and DeBusschere and the whole championship core, and then did have a former MVP on the team. I love how Bob McAdoo gets completely forgotten about because the team stunk. But, to Bernard King, to Patrick Ewing, to Sprewell and Houston, and when they kind of spearheaded the team, and you had your dalliance there with Stephon Marbury, who's been supporting the team in the Garden, and obviously Carmelo Anthony and Kristaps Porzingis and Julius Randle. There's been a lot of great players in the history of this franchise. I know it's been a lot of lean years. There's a lot of great players because at the end of the day, someone is usually going to want to come here and play and try to be the guy in New York. I have always lived in New York. I've never lived anywhere else, even if I'm not necessarily a Jet or a Giant or a Met or a Yankee fan or a Ranger fan or Islander fan or a Dove fan. I always kind of pay attention to what's going on. I don't know. I'm not saying he's the best. I'm not saying he's the best athlete in like the last however many years in New York basketball or New York sports. There's no one who has come in to a team and done and written a legend in what is effectively 20 months, right? Because he came here, his first game he played for the Knicks was in October, and now we're in May. So if my math is correct, it's about 20 months. What is this, if not a fairy tale? If not Cinderella wearing high tops? I don't know. I don't know because it shouldn't be real. It shouldn't be possible. The chapters just keep getting written. It seems like through these playoffs, there's forget an additional paragraph each night. It seems like there's a whole new chapter getting written each night. And now we're starting to get on, well, this thing isn't just a book. This is an anthology. This is volumes here. This is insane. This is utterly insane. This is insane if you're considering it in the history of New York sports. This is insane if you're considering it in NBA history. You do not get superstars who of this caliber and who are writing this sort of story he was in the league, Benji, for years. And his team that drafted him looked at him and said, we don't want to compromise our ability to trade you. So we're not going to give you a middling contract. Like, what is happening? This is the part that's like, because he's just one man. I don't know.
You know what his numbers were in the second half?
I know he had 24 points.
9 for 16, 24 points, 2 for 5 from 3, 4 for 6 from the line. Well, I don't know how hurt he was, but presumably very, because he he didn't come back in the game in the first half. And I really am speechless about him. I it's just a sheer force of will. He's made of iron, man. Mentally, physically, like the poetry of this obviously happening, like a guy coming back from injury on the Willis Reed anniversary night, but like a guy who embodies everything that Willis Reed was about. Like, this guy is the captain. This guy is. It's so obvious the way everyone else on the team looks at him, even his teammates. And Josh Hart is an older, like Josh Hart welcomed him to Villanova as a freshman.
Yeah.
Like, but you can just see it's more than respect, it's admiration. It's
reverence.
The reverence, the way they talk about him, the way they look at him. He has commanded that kind of respect from his teammates and then from the fan base, obviously, but he's earned everything and he keeps earning it more and more. It's really quite remarkable. It's a story kind of unlike anything I can remember. This kind of rise, and then just obviously the way he looks, and he's playing basketball. He's 5'11", can't really jump, and he's been as good as anyone in this playoffs. He's a superhero. I just hope he's healthy enough to keep writing the chapters. You know, like that's my. I just hope this doesn't derail it, because it's an amazing story. It's just an amazing story. And if it ends this season, God forbid, it'll continue, because that's who he is. But I just hope that this season the story continues, because it's like a irresistible story. It's just so easy to root for. It's so fun to enjoy.
The only comparison I could make, and I'm obviously not the first person to make this comparison, but it's like, what if Linsanity didn't last 3 weeks but lasted like 2 years or 2 seasons? And,
the 40 point streak ends, unfortunately.
Well, that's what happens when you only play however many you play in the first half.
Yeah.
It's we're going to talk about him a lot tonight, so I'm going to let people have their platform, and I'll echo and amplify all the things that other people are going to say. Never watched an athlete like this. It is like I'll say it. It's Jordan-esque. Because Michael Jordan was inevitable, right? You're a little after Jordan, right? I know, but I could tell you because I was there. The closest thing to Jordan was Tiger Woods, and Tiger Woods was inevitable, and Jordan was inevitable, and that's really it. And there was a sense about Jalen Brunson that he is inevitable, except like, if you built a perfect golfer, you would build Tiger Woods. If you built a perfect basketball player, you would build Michael Jordan. If you would build a perfect basketball player, you would not build Jalen Brunson.
No, you would not.
Maybe if you're building a perfect rugby player, you would build Jalen Brunson. Not if you're building a perfect basketball player. And it's like, I have a thing that I wrote, and I'll put it in the newsletter tomorrow, about comparisons to another 6'0" point guard who took his team to the finals 23 years ago.
That's the one.
That's it.
That's the one.
But here's the thing. There's a difference. That dude was the first pick in the draft.
I know. I was having this exact conversation with myself today. Literally
like,
thinking about this.
You knew Iverson was, and Iverson was inevitable in a different way. You knew with that skill and that speed and that touch and that's all of the things, like, he was going to be a Hall of Famer before he got drafted, as long as he cared to do so. This is different.
It's a fact. I hope to dive into it more, probably when this is all over. Maybe between series if we get there. but the comparisons are apt and interesting, and two warriors, undersized warriors, where you built around them this just defensive-minded, tough team to kind of insulate him from his own limitations. But that whole team also understood how to kind of open him up and find cracks and creases in defenses. The coaches who have, there's just a lot of connections and similarities between the two runs. For those who don't know, we're talking about Allen Iverson.
Pretty good basketball player.
There's a lot there to unpack, but for another day.
It's another quote, courtesy Ian Begley, the great Ian Begley. I'm all good, Jalen Brunson says when asked about right foot soreness, and that's it. Brunson said he didn't get any imaging on his foot when he was out of the game. You know what, Benji? I think you're going to be proven right.
No imaging. Fascinating decision. What was he doing back there?
Maybe he was constipated.
No imaging. All right. I don't want to think about this. Hopefully he's fine. I don't want any Woj bombs tomorrow.
He won't, it's just, I can't. It's insanity. It is utter abject. Has any, here's let's end here and then I'm going to let you go. You know what we've wanted as Knicks fans for 20 plus years? More than a good team or even a competent team. We've wanted a team that cared as much as we did. We've wanted a team that would say, I'm sitting here at home in my, fucking house on my couch, and I would give a pinky toe to get a playoff series or something, during one of those lean years where you were the laughingstock of the fucking league. Why do I care so much more than the players that I'm watching? And yet I'm so stupid and hopeless, I can't even quit this addiction. And yet they care so. It seems so apparent that they cared so much less than we did. And so what we really wanted was just somebody to come in there and just care as much as we did. And now we have someone who he's willing to do anything to try to get he's like his freaking coach. He's willing to do anything. He's willing to do anything, whether it makes good sense or not, apparently. I don't know.
He's heroic, man. He's been a hero.
It is. That's the only word. I just nothing else to say.
Nope.
I feel
I'm out.
This is the most incoherent preamble before we get to Super Chats, but I apologize. Really.
We're processing this along with everybody at home. It was a unique experience. It kind of just washed over me as I'm watching with you, and it's still in some way washing over me. It was crazy. I've never seen anything quite like that.
I'm just waiting to wake up. Oh, boy. All right. I'm going to get you out of here before we do the last two segments. Benji Ritholtz. Oh, wait, no. Apparently not.
How about while you guys process all that, we just remind everybody that those doofuses in Indiana are not like us. I'm glad you had a front row seat for that, Reggie Miller. I'm glad that you got to witness in a building you were 7-27 in your career, and you said you dominated, that you got to witness another Pacer playoff loss. I would like to remind you, Reggie Miller, you made the finals once, and when it's with an aging Patrick Ewing on his last leg. You were eliminated in the conference finals twice by the New York Knicks in that building. Okay? You were the higher seed in that second one. You lost to an 8th seed in which you scored 9 points. You scrub. You missed the game-winning shot in 94 to get to the finals, and then you committed a blatant, flagrant foul. We're not going to question it. We don't question referees here at Knicks Film School. Refs makes the call. We respect the opponent, and then we respect the referees, unless they're fouling Jalen Brunson. In that case, he's getting fouled. He's getting fouled. Get these bums up out of here. That was a very reverent and very respectful post game. Yes, we're all still processing. But you know what we can process? As we just finalize the process in the last round. Let's get these bums from Indiana up out of here, okay? They not like us.
The cheeseburgers, as Benson calls them.
Losers.
That was so. I needed that.
That was maybe the best performance of the night, in a night full of great performances.
Really, truly.
Goodness.
That was 48 minutes right there.
I love you guys, and I enjoyed. I clipped it like so good. How much I loved the monologue you guys just gave that I clipped it and posted it on social. Like that's how
nice.
This was a spiritual experience. Okay. And you know who's going to need to find religion after this game? Rick Carlisle. Because you know who really you should be like throwing the challenge flag at? You see that we can't stop TJ McConnell. What's wrong with you, Rick?
Stan Van Gundy must have said it 12 times down the stretch of that game. They should really reinsert TJ McConnell. Stan
wants to coach the Pacers. I'm convinced. Yeah. That's how much he was like politely saying, Rick, are you stupid? Like, that's really what he was saying the entire fourth quarter. Rick, are you stupid?
We had it mostly muted. How bad was Reggie? I heard a couple of things that annoyed me.
He was awful.
Was it as bad as it could have been?
Are we done with this now? He's not going to be back on the series.
He's not covering the series, John. He's not, like, on the broadcast. He's on – they flew him from OKC, I'm pretty sure, so he could just do this game.
And it was
I'm glad you got a front – he kept – bringing like when Josh Hart had that he put himself into it.
It's always
when Josh
about
Hart.
Him. I know it's always.
You know how Josh Hart had that lane violation where he threw the ball. He was like, "Oh, that reminded me of Anthony Mason throwing the ball in bounds." I swear, Reggie. I swear. Loser. 7-27 in that building. He should get a loss for this. No, 7-28 now. In the words of Josh Hart, they were saying F you at the end. Shout out to John's cab driver. They were saying F you in case you didn't hear. Just want to make sure you heard. They were chanting F you, Reggie Miller.
Was an F you Reggie chant going?
See, you guys were still processing. They were literally chanting F you, Reggie.
Oh, good.
Were they really?
F you, Reggie. And then Josh Hart, because they need to build a statue to that man.
They do.
Josh Hart. Oh, my God.
Josh Hart.
Hold on. Josh Hart went over to Reggie on like the mic and said on national television, they're saying F you, by the way. Like, in case you
did the mic pick it up?
Yes. It's going viral. You guys have been on YouTube.
Oh my
but
God.
It's going viral on Knicks Twitter at the moment.
I saw that he did that. I did not realize the mic picked it up.
No, this man has gone on the greatest publicity and image tour. Not like, I don't mean that like it's genuine.
Yeah,
it's
the man has become an absolute legend in this town, just out of sheer, obviously, play, but personality. He is unbelievable. A legend in this town. They can't trade him if they wanted to.
Yeah, that's if they wanted to.
Comp. Who has been the Josh Hart over the last since I've been watching New York? I feel like there had to have been someone on the Yankees during.
I'm trying to think of a Yankee. It'll be the only.
That's what I'm trying to think of too.
Maybe like a Paul O'Neill-ish, like a big personality.
But like that level of player, like Paul O'Neill was never like an all-star. Well, maybe he was an all-star. But
no, he wasn't. Maybe I don't remember if he was for a year. But like not a superstar, but like a really good player, but just a force of personality.
You know who
but
he
he's
is?
Not the force of personality Josh Hart was.
You know who he is? He's David Wells.
Interesting.
David Wells pitched a perfect game and started all-star games. Josh Hart was a liability at times on the court this year, but because literally he just tries harder than so many other of his peers, he becomes such an asset. Like, this would be like if I was a Yankee and then suddenly pitched like David Wells come playoff time. So people are throwing Nick Swisher in the chat. Benji can attest to this. Nick Swisher is not the playoff performer you want to go to.
I was thinking Nick Swisher because he's a great personality, but he wasn't
personality.
Yeah, you need the game too. You need the game.
I feel like O'Neal's the closest thing, but he was a bit drier than Josh
to
Hart.
go back to another Nick, Anthony Mason is probably the guy. But Anthony Mason, he had a personality, different sort of personality.
He wasn't eating Mike and Ike's.
No, he was not. He was. We'll just leave it at that.
I personally just the John Starks comps come to me too. Like, it's different games, obviously, but John Starks was the second best player and was probably just more meant to be a third or fourth best player.
Josh Hart is playing as well as any second star in the playoffs right now. Like the idea and it's different than he's not creating in the half court in the same way, but complete games, like he's been as good as any, like he has been the second guy. He's been that good.
There's a Draymond-esque quality to what's happening right now, you know, and like me and Andrew at some point, actually tomorrow, I think we'll record our a Patreon episode. I think we're gonna try to get at the definition of like what is a role player. And like, when do you evolve out of being a role player? And like, what is the meaning of that? Because it doesn't feel like we're watching a role player right now.
That's it. It feels like he's evolved out of role player status in this playoff, because whatever creation Brunson's not doing is exclusively him in transition. It's like that's their other way of creating advantages is just Josh Hart pushing the pace, and he's done it expertly. I'm the idiot who was like, the Knicks at their best have him playing 20 to 25 minutes a game.
We all were, though. Then he turned into Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. Like
that was a smart thing to say. I mean, let's just hold on. Last thing before we let you go, Benji. So in this playoffs now, I'm pretty sure the stat is updated. Josh Hart for the Knicks is averaging. Oh, sorry, I'm not on playoffs. I got it right here. Hang on one sec. Josh Hart is obviously Brunson's still their leading scorer. Josh Hart is averaging 18 points, 12.8 rebounds, 5.3 assists, a steal, and a block. He's shooting 47% overall, 43.9%.
Come on, man. That's star numbers.
On 5 attempts a game, 70% from the line. You'd like that to be a little bit better. On 5 attempts.
Not Pascal Siakam numbers.
I mean, here are the 3 players who have more. Actually, hold on. Because, if we're going total rebounds, I don't think anybody in the playoffs has more total rebounds than him. In terms of rebounding average, the players who have more average rebounds per game than him, Anthony Davis, Nikola Jokic, and Jared Allen.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's what I mean. You know, it's just been a ridiculous run. And by the way, God, we didn't get a chance to talk about like specific plays, and then I really will get out of here. He made a 3, I think it was in the second quarter. Man, it's hard to recall now, but I'm pretty sure he made a 3 in the second quarter from the left corner.
The Josh Hart 3?
Yeah.
It was the fourth quarter.
I
it was in one of the most important moments of the game.
It was the fourth. He didn't make one in the second. He only made
one 3 tonight. Made 1 3 tonight.
So I know. I just remember it being
fourth quarter 3.
Yes, I remember it being when the Pacers were on a little bit of a run, and it's just a classic. Like, I'm just gonna make the most timely 3 possible right now when nobody expects me to shoot it, and I'm just gonna make it because I'm Josh Hart.
Yep,
it's crazy.
Yeah, no, 18, 13, and 5 are over 8 playoff games. Those are star numbers.
That's star numbers.
Indiana had cut it down to 1, and he made a 3 to make it 4.
There you go.
7 minutes left.
I just remember thinking like that is the most. I apologize for not. The quarters ran together on me, but I recall very specifically thinking that is the most Josh Hart 3 ever.
Because there was so much shit that happened after that, Benji. It was fairly early in the fourth. It made it 105-101. I have it right here, and it was followed by a Brunson, oh my god, 2, and then a Brunson, oh my god, 3. And then 18 other plays before the end of the game.
Right, because and that was huge because obviously the Knicks blew them out in third quarter, and then that freaking McConnell Toppin unit's in, and they roar back, and Josh Hart just makes a 3 to kind of create a little bit of separation. But he's been everything and more.
Benji, you gave us an hour tonight. I appreciate it. I needed it. I needed to get from the end of the game to now where I get to do the Super Chats.
This was fun, man.
I'm so happy I get to do this with you.
I love doing it with you too, man. We get some of the craziest games to digest together. It's an honor and a privilege. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great night.
Be well, brother.
Oh, man. Bye, Benji. Would you like to do 2 other segments? What are you apologizing for?
I'm sorry that I couldn't be better at elucidating what this night was. And I mean that. I genuinely mean that. I pride myself on being able to find the words.
Why are you apologizing for struggling to find the words about something that was indescribable?
Because
You're human, John. And I thought you were brilliant too. I thought both of you captured how all of us are just shrugging, being like, how do they keep doing this? And they keep doing it anyway.
I just
This effing team is the most this descriptive way to like say what's going on in front of us at the moment, John.
It really does just make me think, like, it just makes me kind of step outside of sports and fandom, and it's like, again, I keep going back to these thoughts of, like, life is hard. Every day it's hard. It's not fair unless you were gifted, into a ginormous trust fund or something. Like, we all go out there, we all try to do what we got to try to do, and we try to get these little pockets of enjoyment with our loved ones, with our children, with our spouse, with our friends and whatnot. And, like, I'm just so thankful that we have this team. I'm just so thankful that we have them. And I'm thankful more as much as anything that we get to kind of be a community together and share it. And it's not lost on me that we all get to do this and as one, So thanks for everybody watching. Hopefully people didn't tune out. But we'll all right, let's do our last two segments.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Hopefully people didn't tune out. 3,000 people watching, John.
Oh, well, that's kind of people.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Jesus Christ.
The road to recovery.
Shout out to UnifiedHealing.com, presenters of The Road to Recovery, which is currently closed because there was such a traffic jam that there was no more room to drive on The Road to Recovery. To learn more about Unified Healing, just go to UnifiedHealing.com. You can find a center near you. Again, that is UNIFYD healing.com. I'm imagining, like the Knicks social media team is so great. They do such amazing work where occasionally they'll put out, like, artistic representations of the team and what they're doing. The thing that they should put out tomorrow is a hospital ER or like a waiting room for a doctor's office, and just every Knick sitting there waiting to have their name called to be examined by a medical professional. Because, like, all right, let's do this. So Jalen Brunson injured what we found out was his foot, not his testicles or his wrist or his hand, in the late first quarter, asked to be subbed out of the game, did not come back until the third quarter, started the third quarter, obviously. We learned that it is some sort of a foot injury. He told us that he did not get imaging and that he seems to think that he could give it a go in Game 3. We'll see what happens there. Is there anything else to say about Jalen Brunson? I don't know what else to say.
Nope, I agree with you. I don't think he plays Game 3.
I'm sure he's going to want to. That's the thing. I'm sure.
Of course, that's why I think we've seen this throughout the season where they're like empty the clip to try and. I mean, honestly, I think we saw it in Game 5 that Tibbs tried to empty the clip so that way they could get a week off, and then the end of chaos. The end of that series turned into chaos. I think I cannot believe we're here again where we're waiting for, like, where we might see Daquan Jeffries and Jacob Toppin and Jericho Sims while we wait for the team to get healthy in the playoffs.
You could tell me that they're having a meeting right now, someone in the Knicks organization who has some weight, and that person might get laughed out of the room. But you can tell me that there's someone actually pondering right now, should we just go out there on Friday and play 48 minutes of Shake Milton, Daquan Jeffries, Jericho Sims, what's his name? First name again? Mamidi?
Him.
Mamadi.
Yes.
Diakite and Alec Burks. 48 minutes, 5-man lineup, no subs.
You want to know what's absurd, John?
What?
They probably win that freaking game because that's this team. They're so weird.
I'm being, like, kind of facetious, but also not really. Like, you could tell me that they're, like, someone in the organization is like, hey man, is this the move right now? Does this give us a better chance to win this series? Does this give a better chance to, enter potentially the next round? Like, but that's not how they do things. So I don't know. OG Anunoby left the game when did he leave the game? That's a good question.
Fourth quarter.
Beginning of the fourth?
I believe it was the beginning of the fourth. Yeah, it was on a fast break, and then he left the game. Might have been the third, but I believe it was the fourth.
I'm looking, and his name is not coming up in the fourth quarter. So OG Anunoby left the game.
Third quarter.
Yeah, third quarter. Man,
I need this to be. I mean, look, we're saying. We're all hoping that this is like a cramp.
3:20. Sorry, 3:27 left in the third.
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't know. What was the
missed 2-point shot? It's just will not return, and then hasn't heard from Tibbs. My hope is that this is the week-long injury or the week and a half long injury, and not the 3 to 5 week injury for Anunoby. One thing you and I have both heard about him is that he will not play unless he's 100%. So, what we're hoping is that he's not more than a week away from 100%. You asked the proper question to Benji. Do you think they can win this series without him? I think we should mentally prepare to try and win this series without OG Anunoby, and then bring him back for Boston. And what are you smiling at? John is smiling.
Courtesy of Christian Winfield.
Okay.
Josh Hart on what happens to his workload if OG Anunoby hamstring can't play in Game 3. I'm playing 48 anyway, dog. Ain't shit changed. That's phenomenal. Do we know it's a hamstring?
Yeah, he pulled up. He was grabbing his hamstring as he was walking off the floor. I think we're all just assuming it's a hamstring injury. Why? What do you think it is?
No, I just don't know. There's a doctor. I'm seeing there's a Twitter doctor here. OG Anunoby appears to suffer a left hamstring strain on this play. He's going to be likely out for the rest of the series. MRI tomorrow will tell what grade strain to determine his return to play.
Okay. And then Mitchell Robinson's out for the season.
Oh, yeah.
8 weeks with an ankle injury.
That seemed like 18 years ago that happened.
Yeah. So, yeah.
All right. And then quick last segment before we get to the Super Chats. Thanks, everybody, for your patience. Playoff scoreboard presented by T-Squared Social. Been doing a lot of great watch parties. We are undefeated in those playoff watch parties, so that's a good thing.
Test that record on Friday, I tell you that much.
Get a free draft beer when you tell them KFS sent you. Visit tsquaredsocial.com to learn about club memberships, trivia nights, sports leagues, and much more. So the Knicks and the Nuggets are the only, and Wolves and Pacers are the only teams that have played multiple games in the second round. Both the Wolves and the Knicks are up 2-0, while the Celtics and Thunder, the two top seeds, are up 1-0. I believe those two series continue tomorrow night.
Yes. Yeah. The Nuggets get 4 days off. The Nuggets-Timberwolves series gets 4 days off.
How nice for them.
There's always one every year just to realign everything. The Knicks were the series last year. Remember that Tuesday, Saturday when Jimmy sat game 2?
I don't, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, remember Jimmy got hurt game 1 on Sunday and then missed game 2 so that we had a week off because game 3 was Saturday. There's always one series a year and it's because those two series ended early, so they were the first available game 1 to have. So,
yeah, man. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. If they could somehow figure out a way to get a game in Indiana, it's tough because we're still focused on this season. Obviously, we're still focused on the season, and yet at the same time, we're an hour and 10 minutes into this thing, and if any of us had any rational sense of thought, we'd be like, well, given what happened to OG Anunoby tonight, and given where we're at in terms of guys being down, it's not the road is ending at some point, but you just want it to keep going. You want it to keep going to the Eastern Conference Finals. Whether the Eastern Conference Finals is a 4-game sweep or not, it's inconsequential. Let's keep pushing the thing,
I'm not. Look, was this always going to end at a certain point? This road to recovery that we're on? Yeah, sure. I feel like we've all been waiting for it to end for months, so that's why enjoying tonight is important because now we see a light and we don't know if it's the end of the tunnel or if it's something oncoming. Just enjoy the view left and right.
I'm just going to say it right now. I'm not even sure. I mean, I care, obviously. How much does it matter what this team does from here? Like, what else do they have left to give us? What else do they have left to prove?
I'm there. I mean, it's not to say I didn't want to beat Philly, don't want to beat Indiana, get to the conference finals, but
Obviously.
like, I feel like we were all kind of there after game 82. But it's like, oh my God, they won 50 games in a 2 seed. Like, we're going to be proud of this team no matter when the season ends. So now they're just continuing to solidify that moniker, that you've made us more proud than any Knicks team has ever done. And if this ends 4 games from now because they ran out of healthy bodies, or if this ends in the next round against the Celtics, or if they pull off one more miracle and it ends in the finals, they're going to make us the most proud we've ever been as Knicks fans, no matter what.
I've never been as proud of a team as this. Like, the only other team that's in contention is the 99 team, and the difference between that and this is, like, the 99 team always had it. You know, they always had it. We knew they always had it. We always knew they had the talent. And yes, they were an 8 seed because it was a 50-game season, and that's the way. And they took a long time to get their stuff together. Yeah, they suffered the Ewing injury, but like, you could argue that Marcus Camby was the better center for that team at that point in time. You know, so it's like, and then they ran into Tim Duncan and David Robinson. This is a different animal. It's just a different animal. Okay. I'm sure there's a lot of excited people. Let's get to the Super Chats. I look forward to being here for as long as y'all want to have me. I'll say that. And thank you, everybody, again, for your patience. We start off with Ray Marcano. Jalen Brunson is the most important player on any New York sports team this century, even more so than Jeter, and I'm a maniac Yankees fan. Is there a more important player? So I'm going to go through the teams right now. A Giant was never this important. A Jet was never this important. I'm not a big enough hockey follower to know whether Henrik Lundqvist was ever this important. He
was not.
He was not. Okay, so that's from a Ranger fan. Devils no. Islanders no. Nets. That's funny. And that brings us to baseball. No, because of the nature of the sport of baseball. Because of the nature of the sport of baseball, you're never going to have, like, if that was the case, then the Angels would have multiple, deep playoff runs over the last 10 years. But because one player can't again, that's not diminishing, Aaron Judge or Derek Jeter or, Mariano, any Yankee you want to say. It's just a different sport. So I think probably the better question is, like, when is the last time that a New York athlete has been as important to their team as Jalen Brunson? I think Ewing is in the conversation. Lawrence Taylor is in the conversation. I'm just thinking back since, like, I don't know, man. That's my lifetime, at least. I don't know who else is really in the conversation. That's where we are right now. It's insanity. Kento Cato. What's going on, Kento? We're so lucky to have this team. You're damn right we are, man. The heart and effort, man. Screw Philly, Indy, Chuck, Shaq, Reggie, and all the haters. It's us versus everyone, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Boy, oh boy. For all the conspiracy theorists out there who just keep, and I don't pay much attention to this nonsense, as you all know, but I am aware that it exists. For all of that stuff that's out there, there's an awful lot of people who are ready to just pile dirt on this Knicks team. Oh, they'll lose to Philly. Oh, they'll lose to Indy. Oh, they don't, this and that and the other. No. Well, you know what? Fuck y'all. Because we're still here. And most of all, fuck Reggie Miller, who there is a special place in hell reserved just for you, my friend, for the people who add nothing to anybody's life at any point in time and just are absolutely awful in everything that they do. Your breath stinks, sir. No one wants to hear you talk about basketball or anything. So you should go and sit in a room by yourself, maybe bring a pipe, a good book, a nice orange. Whatever you need to do to keep yourself entertained and well-nourished, go in that room and don't come the fuck out, because no one wants to see your ugly, E.T.-looking face ever again. Fuck off. Thank you.
To John's cab driver, we got an hour and 16 in. Okay.
Sorry.
You're good. Your breath stinks, sir. I love you.
Keith, what's going on, Keith? The OG stuff is sad, and it seems like it's always something, but our guys never give up or focus on the injuries. Why should I? JB is a basketball hero, our version of Jeter, second Jeter comp, and 3 super chats. Not inappropriate. Let's freaking go Knicks. Shouts to KFS. Yeah, I mean, this team, but it's gotten to the point where you, like, dealing with injuries has become the identity of the team. Like, think about it. We're fast forward 20 years, 30 years. We're going to talk about this team. We're going to tell this team to people who didn't watch it, and we're going to be like, so the first sentence of their, not obituary, but like the first sentence we're going to say is like, oh yeah, that was the Jalen Brunson year. That was the year that Jalen Brunson, announced himself as one of the best players in basketball. But then the next sentence is going to be, and oh my God, did that team just overcome adversity after adversity after adversity. That's the second line. Thanks, Keith. Appreciate you, man. Hayden Freed, this team is made for this city. I mean, I've tried to write about that a few times in the newsletter, and I don't know that I've put the proper words to the page. I haven't even wrapped my head around what I'm going to try to write for tomorrow. It's the most New York team. It's the most, because again, like whether it's real or it's an image that we perpetuate because we want to believe it about ourselves, every person who was born and raised and continues to try to make a living in this city thinks of themselves as, I will do the job that someone else is not tough enough to do. That's what it is to be a New Yorker. Whether it's true or not is a different story. But we all tell ourselves that. We all convince ourselves that we're going to be the ones to do the thing that someone who is less, has less grit can do. Like, they won't be able to do it. And this team is telling themselves they could do it, and then they're actually doing it. I think that's why we all love them so much, because it makes us feel like we're not living it truly is a reflection of our lives. It makes us feel, it gives us the confidence to believe that we are not living in a fantasy when we get up every day and we're going to say, F y'all, I got this. Because they're doing it. And if they could do it, well, then it must be possible. So why can't we do it? There are team. There are team in every way that a team could belong to a city. Thank you, Hayden. Sam Garcia's dad, what's going on, Ray? This team is fucking Terminator, John. Or is the effing Terminator. They cannot be stopped. Just keep coming. Amazing. And we got our own Willis Reed moment. Speechless. Terminator 2 is my favorite movie. I don't know if everybody knows that. I have a few favorites, but that's at my core, Terminator 2 is my favorite movie. And that's because it has heart, it has action, and it has, as you're saying, it has this relentlessness to the Arnold Schwarzenegger character who, it's still, whenever I watch it, there's tears in my eyes when he comes up on that gear holding the shotgun there. It's not a shotgun, it's a grenade launcher. And he pumps one last one into the T-1000, who falls into the molten whatever that is. Great scene, great movie, and great comp. That's what they are. You could stick a freaking metal rod through their head. Doesn't matter. They're going to keep coming at you. Thank you, Ray. Jesse D, just keep thinking about JB after the February Pacers win. We're going to keep fighting. That's what he said. We saw it all tonight, and fitting, it's Indy again. It's storybook. Storybooks aren't this good. They really aren't. Josh Hart out here is quoting biblical biblical passages. Shout out to Mike Scotto for that quote. Hey man, whatever you got to. I mean, Benji said it. It's a spiritual experience. Whatever you got to tap into. If Josh Hart is tapping into his beliefs, whatever works, man. Whatever works. Thank you. Oh, Robert Cross. Robert W. Cross. First time, long time. It's your boy John. MVP. I'm going to read all of them. MVP. Shout out to Jalen Brunson. He is only the second Knick since 1995. So if my math is correct, that is the second Knick in 29 years to finish top 5 in MVP voting. I'm doing this off of memory. I believe Melo obviously finished 3rd in 2013. I believe Patrick finished 5th in 1995, and I think he finished 3rd he never finished top 3. I think he finished 4th in 1994, if I recall correctly. Yes, that was the year. Again, going off of memory, apologies if this is wrong, where 4 centers finished top 4 in MVP voting. It was David Robinson winning it, followed by Akeem. No, it was Akeem, then David Robinson, then Shaq, then Ewing. I think that was the order. Anyway, not many top 5 MVP finishes in Knicks history. JB got one today. Robert W. Cross with another one. 54 years to the day, Willis walked out of the tunnel. Jalen Brunson willed our team to a victory. A championship moment for our Knicks. Why not us? Well, there's only one answer left for why not us, and that's because they literally will be at the point where they're putting you and me and Tibbs and Benji and Andrew in a game to play because they have nobody else left who can stand on their own 2 feet without the assistance of a crutch. That's the only reason at this point why not us. Because anyone left doubting this team, what else do you need to see? What else do you need to see? Michael Aaron, what's going on, Michael? Hell and back, battered and bruised, pushed beyond all limits, and they believe they can win it all. Who the hell are we to tell them any different? I'm not going to tell them any different because I'm not a doctor. That's the only thing. I'm not a doctor. So I'm not going to be the one to tell them. I'm afraid of what doctors are going to tell them. Yes, I'm focusing on OG Anunoby at the moment, but I guess also a little bit Jalen Brunson. To say nothing of the players who are out and we're not going to see again. And they keep doing it. It's insane. It's abject insanity. And yet, this freaking team and this freaking win for them tonight is going to be overshadowed by the refs, which I'm not really happy about. I got to tell you. I'm not really happy about that. And I do kind of blame Indiana, but I blame Reggie Miller. Dan Hidalgo, game's not over until the Knicks win. That's a good line. Warrants a sip. Hayden Freed, like I said, Jalen is the fucking Undertaker. Hashtag MVP 11. Man, if you could bet on Jalen Brunson, if the over-under was set at 0.5 MVPs for the rest of his career, would you bet the over if you're given even money? Would you need like 2-1 odds? 3-1? If I'm getting 3-1, I'm betting the over. 2-1, I think about it. I 3-1. I'm betting though that he's going to win an MVP at some point in his career because. Listen, Allen Iverson won an MVP. Derrick Rose won an MVP. Steve Nash won 2 MVPs. I know we're entering an era of unprecedented young talent in the league between Anthony Edwards and Victor Wembanyama, and like Jokic is still around, although I think he's probably done winning MVPs. SGA not going anywhere. Luke is not going anywhere. I don't know, man. One of these years. Thanks, Hayden. Sam Garcia, 2 down, 2 to go. This effing team, John. Yeah. I'm look. I somehow I think they're going to be able to find a way to get those next 2. I don't know how. And it seems so unfair to ask them to try to get 2 more wins. It really does. I mean that. It seems so unfair to again, they could lose the next 4 straight and whatever, maybe I'll change my mind after I watch them. But there's a part of me sitting here right now where I'd be like, all right, well, that's all right. You gave me enough. You'd love to get 2 more, though. You'd love to get 2 more. Thanks, Sam. Kento Cato with another one. Reminder, Candace Parker will go on national television and say Brunson struggled in the second round. I don't know. Looks like a 1A to me. Look, there's a lot of people who had a lot of bad takes. Let's not pile on any one person. It's a lot of people. Me, Jonathan Macri, Knicks Film School podcaster, author of the Knicks Film School newsletter. There was a point in time not that long ago where I doubted whether Jalen Brunson could be a 1A. So, to call out anyone who's ever has doubted that this is possible, I can't go crazy. Now, at some point, it got to a point of where it was a little bit absurd after we saw what we saw. Here's the good news. No one's saying that anymore. No one's gonna say if this person out there wants to go out there and actually give a take where it's like, oh yeah, he's not good enough to be the best player on a title team. That's good. God bless. Rich McLeod, speechless. Love this team. Love y'all. Here's $2. Thank you, Rich. We appreciate it, man. You're not the only one who's speechless. Kento Cato with another one. Kento, thank you so much for the generosity, man. We appreciate it. Thank you, everybody who's still watching. Thank you, everybody who contributed. Don't forget, hit that like button, by the way. Those likes are like Gatorade for Josh Hart. He needs it. We need it.
John, Likes and Ikes was right there.
Oh, Likes and Ikes. I get it.
Yeah. There you go.
That's a good one. Likes and Ikes. This is why you're you're in charge of like the witty puns.
Got to be in charge of something.
Kento Cato beating Indy in the playoffs, overcoming 2 injuries while already being shorthanded. While Shaq, Chuck, Reggie sit there speechless and the crowd chanting F Reggie. One of my favorite Knick games ever. I kind of just wish I could have heard the F Reggie chants at the end there. I'll go back and obviously I'll find the clip and I'll hear it. But I was so keyed into the game and like I just didn't want to hear Reggie's voice, so I wasn't even. But putting a muzzle on all these people who keep doubting this team, that gives me life. I love that. That's great. Thank you, Kento. Hayden Freed with another one. Reggie, get some loser bum Arthur looking fool. Arthur's a good comp. Barry Craver, what's going on, Barry? Everyone in this room should sign up for the newsletter. They're coming tomorrow. Go KFS. Well, thank you very much, Barry. I appreciate you've been a big supporter of the Knicks Film School newsletter. And yes, if anybody would like to sign up for the Knicks Film School newsletter, go head over to Substack or just Google Knicks Film School Substack. You could sign up. You can sign up for free. You don't have to pay any money. I still send out a free edition once a week. In addition to I preview a portion of all of the paid newsletters pretty much every day. So you'll get to read a little bit of something every day. And if you want to actually, give me a few bucks, it's the price of a cup of coffee. It's $5 a month. I promise you, at the very least, you'll be getting my best every day. So, yeah, if anybody wants to sign up for the newsletter, appreciate that shout out, Barry. I don't know what the hell I'm going to write for tomorrow. We'll find out soon enough, I guess. Hush Zoo, no words. This damn team. Yeah. The words are the words portion of your program is done. We're all emoting here at this point. Hush Zoo with another one. Brunson, the same impact Embiid had for the Sixers. MVP. I mean, just hold on. Who's been a more important player? Who's the MVP of the playoffs right now? If it's not Brunson, it's Anthony Edwards. Right? That's the only other name. There's a top two, and then there's a drop-off. And you probably still give Jokic third. But I would say it's Anthony Edwards and Jalen Brunson in some order. And then there's a little bit of a gap. So forget regular season stuff. Jalen Brunson thus far is top 2 MVP at worst of the playoffs. Great Josh Hart quote, courtesy of SNY Knicks. Josh Hart was asked if he expects to play all 48 minutes these days. Tibbs always asks me if I need a break, and I always tell him no. It's something I want to do. Well, you know what? I don't blame him because he's attaining legend status. And to attain legend status in New York City is that doesn't get bestowed upon just anyone. Yeah. Thank you.
Would you like to hear something, John?
Sure.
17. Yeah, there's no question. Look, no game is over with this New York Knicks team.
In this building. In this building especially.
Brunson misses both.
Pacers got to go quick here.
In case you missed it, Madison Square Garden.
I want to hear the Hart soundbite.
I'll get that next.
Okay, let's go. Dom the dentist, they're not like us. Or they not like us, they not like us, they not like us. I'm not familiar with that song. Thank you, Dom. No one's like us. It's here. Take a step back, take off my Knicks hat. The Wolves are, at this rate, if you had to bet on what team is going to be the story of the playoffs, you'd probably say Minnesota. Just because Minnesota has 8 healthy bodies. They have more than 8, but they have eight playable healthy bodies, and they could probably wind up winning a championship. I think a lot of people are going to look back on these playoffs. Again, let's see what happens. A lot of basketball still to be played. Thus far, the Knicks have defined this playoffs as much as the Wolves. And I know the Wolves have made an announcement to the rest of the league, and Anthony Edwards has made an announcement to the rest of the league that, look, that you're going to have to deal with us probably now for the next couple of years. The Knicks have been the story of the postseason, though. What they're doing is, unlike what's going on in Minnesota, this defies sports. Thank you, Dom.
All right, listen up. Frito's going to go in, and you're just going to hear Josh Hart join the broadcast.
What do you think Jay Wright is saying? Yeah. All right, here's my boys.
I think I said fuck you.
Uh-oh. Josh Hart coming over. What do you think Jay Wright is saying? Yeah. All right, here's my boys.
I think I said fuck you.
Uh-oh. Josh.
Build the man a statue. I'll help build it.
Man. If this team ever wins a championship, he's getting his number retired, I'll tell you that. That much is secure. Travis Edward. F you, Reggie. Yeah, that's it. That's good. I like that. Hayden Freed, son of Sam, couldn't kill this damn team. Man, the things that couldn't this team is Michael Myers. This team is Jason. This team is Freddy. This team is I don't even know. They're the Terminator. They're Rocky. They're the sports equivalent of all of these things, except it's happening in real life. Thank you, Hayden. Ray with another one. Sam Garcia's dad. Thank God the Knicks screwed up and took Obi over Halliburton, or we would have never gotten him. Amen to that. Amen to that. Look, everything works out for a reason, right? Now, Obi's playing with Hallie, and those two guys make great music together, although really it's Obi and TJ Mercado who are making the music together. That's fine. What they're doing is incredible. What they're doing is incredible, and yeah, thank God we got Jalen Brunson, for sure. Alex, they're chanting F you. Just wanted you to know. Yeah, we got it. We got it. Thank you, Alex. Appreciate you, man. Paul from LIC. Can't believe the refs subbed out TJ McConnell. So it might be the super chat of the night so far. Thank you, Paul. Yeah, I didn't want to say it, and I'm kind of wondering it. I'll say it now. I wonder if there wasn't a little bit of Rick Carlisle who was watching this game slip away and knowing, and just the frustration was as much about what his team wasn't able to do. And, you know, I don't know. I wonder. I do wonder if you gave Rick Carlisle a nice glass of some very lovely bourbon, and you got him to start telling some truths, would he admit to you that he maybe made some errors in terms of the personnel he finished the game with? I don't know. That's between him and his God. A.G. Blatt, more injuries, more W's. At this rate, we're going to win the Larry O'Brien Trophy with a line of Brunson, Hart, and 3 MSG event staff. That's fantastic. That's a great line. Thank you, A.G. Blatt. That's really good. Yeah, no, that's... Daquan Jeffries, come on down. It's wild. Me and Benji had like a 5-minute conversation about Daquan Jeffries and a man whose name I can't really pronounce. You know? Like, that's where we are. Thank you, A.G. Blatt. Hush Zoo with another one. Hush, you're all over it tonight. Thank you so much for the generosity, man. We survived the gunshot to the head. Losing OG is taking the shot to the stomach. That's fair. My emotions are everywhere right now. I love this team to bits. Let's freaking go Knicks. Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, as human beings, we are not built to compartmentalize emotions. We're built to compartmentalize other things, and we're built to compartmentalize. Some do this better than others, but like an emotion and separate out the emotion from everything else that is going on. But I don't believe that we're really well built to have two prominent emotions at one time and be able to reconcile those two things at once. If anybody out there is really good at it, that's great. I don't know that I know anybody who's really great at that. I'm not very good at it. So, like, we're sitting here and we're honoring this team and we're paying respect to this team and we are saying all of the things that we wish we could say to this team in person. And at the same time, there is this thing hovering out there where it's like, are we going to see OG Anunoby again for the rest of the playoffs? And the subsequent, like, oh, well, if he's gone for the playoffs, then we're, you know, like, what are we, like, is that the death knell? Is that the final, like, and no, you know it's not going to be the death knell because we talked about it already. I talked about Benji. I flat out asked him, can they win this series without OG Anunoby? Benji said yes. I agree with him. Will it be hard? Yeah, of course it'll be hard. Harder? Absolutely. It'll be a lot harder. Can they do it? Yeah, they could do it. Somehow, some way, they could do it. But yeah, so it's tough. We're trying to reconcile a lot at the same time, and it's hard. But one day at a time. One day at a time. Thanks, Josh. Jesse M. Josh trolling Reggie with Chef's Kiss. Hope you saw it. Well, I did now. Yeah. I saw the clip, and now I heard it. So that's even better. Thank you, Jesse. Jew-Anon! What's going on, Jew-Anon? What are you doing here? You silly, silly man. Jew-Anon, one of the MVPs of the Substack Knicks Film School chat. 36 years as a fan. That might have been my favorite moment. Wow. Making sure Reggie heard that chant is legend stuff. TNT stinks. Fat Van... I'm just reading the words on the page. Fat Van stupid awful is awful. How can one suck so bad and have Jeff Van Gundy as a brother? Salute KFS. Hashtag fire Tibbs. Where does tonight rank? Where does tonight rank? If you're a Knicks fan. My mind immediately goes to series victories, and the tough part is that I've said this before. 93, 94 was like my first real year as a fan, and I remember how I felt the night of Game 7 against the Pacers, of course, against the Pacers. But I had no context for that. I'd be curious to hear from someone who's been a fan for had been a fan for several years before that moment, how that moment compares to this moment. I think for me, Game 5 against Miami in 99, with the way that ended, but that was different. That was one shot. Like, the 4-point play was one shot. This was an out-of-body experience for a half of basketball. I'm quite certain I will never experience anything like this again as long as I live. Is this the top Knicks moment that I've ever experienced? My Lord, I think I need a little bit of time to sit with this one. It might be there. I need to think about it a little bit more. It might be there though. Other Alex, watch the NBA on TNT web broadcast with Channing Frye and Triple J. JJJ. Is that like Jaren Jackson Jr.? Is he doing the broadcast? Who's that? I have no idea who that is. So I didn't have to listen to that petty man. We love you, JB and OG. Please be okay. Well, fingers crossed for OG. Other Alex. Oh, no, sorry. This is the same comment. Zach Barber. What's going on, Zach? Shout out to KFS. The 99 run. Knicks had their injuries, too. They overcame. Next guy up. Let's go. Is Precious the new Kurt Thomas? I like that comp. I think Kurt Thomas is a little bit better basketball player than Precious Achiuwa. Precious Achiuwa through the better part of 3.5 quarters I was not happy with his performance tonight. He came up with some big plays down the stretch, and they don't win the game without those big plays. So credit to Precious. Came up big when it counted. They are going to need him big time. I'm just trying to go through it in my head. If OG can't play in the next game, you figure so Hartenstein. Let's say OG can't play in the next game, and let's say they're actually going to go out and try to win the next game. Okay, Hartenstein. You pencil him in for. Let's give him another 38 minutes. Let's be kind. Let's give him 36 minutes, and then you're doing probably Sims. Can you get away with 8 minutes of Sims? Let's say you get away with 8 minutes of Sims. That gives you 44 between the two of them. So that leaves 4 minutes for Precious at the 5, which I think is all you're going to get for Precious at the 5. Now, how many minutes are you going to get for Precious at the 4? If you have no OG Anunoby, maybe 36 to give Precious a total of 40. And then that leaves 8 minutes left at the backup power forward spot for Josh Hart. So, given Hart is obviously going to play 48 minutes, that leaves 40 more minutes for Josh Hart at the 3. So that means you have to grab. See, already I'm losing it here, because that means where you're getting 8 more minutes at the 3 from. So, I guess let's give it to Dante. So now we got Dante. He's playing 8 minutes at the 3, and then it just trickles down to how many minutes is Deuce playing, because you could get if Deuce gives you if Jalen gives you 36 or whatever, and Dante gives you about like 40, 42 total, then Deuce is just then Deuce gives you the rest. So they could do it. It's going to take 5, 8, 10, 12 minutes from Sims. But I think Precious, man, I'm setting the over-under in the next game for how many minutes Precious plays at 40.5. I think that's the number. So we'll see how good of a Kurt Thomas impression he could do. Stevens Guillaume, like you always say, John, this effing team, if I'm Tibbs, nothing but treatment till game 3. I mean, they're not. No, that's all. The notion that they're going to do anything remotely strenuous before any of the remaining playoff games is crazy. Get some of our guys healthy, OG especially. Yeah, fingers crossed for OG. Thank you, Stevens. Justin, what's going on, Justin? 2 down, 2 to go. This team just keeps fighting. Gotta love it. We should all donate our feet, ankles, and hamstrings for the rest of the playoffs. Let's go Knicks. I would if I could. I really would. I don't need mine. I don't know how healthy my hamstring is, but I think it's pretty good. But I would donate any body part that they needed or demanded of me, happily. Thank you, Justin. Jessica, what's going on, Jess? I know you enjoyed tonight. They don't get it. They're supposed to flail, fail, lie down, running quietly into the night, but they refuse to lose. They never give up. Let's freaking go, Knicks. I keep saying it. They don't accept reality. They live in a dream world, the same dream world we're all living in right now. They live in the same dream world. They think they're supposed to win every game. What are we doing here? Thank you, Jessica.
So our favorite Twitter doctor,
Yes.
Brian Sutterer. He released a 9-minute video on both Jalen Brunson and OG Anunoby.
Okay.
I haven't gotten through to the Brunson part yet because the first 6 minutes are about Anunoby. And he seems to think this is. I'm not going to bore you with the technical jargon. Please go follow him, everybody, and subscribe to his YouTube channel, Brian Sutterer.
Say the Twitter handle because I want everybody to subscribe. This guy's awesome.
This guy's
really
awesome.
good.
He breaks it down really well. It is. I got to come back to it because I'm on his YouTube channel at the moment, not his Twitter.
Okay. I'll find it. What does he say?
So what he's saying, it depends which hamstring muscle he strains. There's the biceps femoris. Like, I'm not going to bore you with the full jargon, but the long and the short is that because he was able to walk it off, like was able to extend it right away and prop back up, he seems to say this is like a 1 to 2 game injury. That it's not a complete tear. He was able to clearly like put some pressure on it right away. It's a brilliant breakdown. If you're a Knicks fan and you want to break it down, I'll put it in the chat at the moment.
Can we reach out to Dr. Sutterer and see if we get him on here?
You know what? That's great producing by you, John Macri. Look at you.
Listen, this is why this is why I'm here.
Put you in charge of stuff
now. Luyen, what's going on, Luyen? Not sure if you could throw more adversity at one team. I do. No, you can't. I know. Just amazing. I've never really understood how MVP is determined, but I can't think of anyone more valuable than Jalen Brunson. No, like I in the playoffs, if anything, Anthony Edwards is on his level. But the way that he inspired his team. Like he inspired his team to perform, and in the process of inspiring his team to perform, scored 24 points. It is one of the all-time legendary performances any New York athlete has ever had in the history of New York sports. To come in after being questionable to return and again, he scored 24 points in 24 minutes, and that is because he did not take a seat on the bench in the second half after being questionable to return. What? Thank you, Lillian. Appreciate it, man. Debo, brother of our co-producer, Kevin. I have fond memories of my 90s Knicks, but have never seen a team with this level of fight. No matter what, I hope we always remember the 2024 team and all these moments and emotions. Get well, OG and JB. Yeah, this team needs to be commemorated somehow because, like, you know, look, me and Jeremy have been podcasting for so long, and we always think about these things in certain terms about, like, okay, let's keep it measured, and, like, when are we making our big move, and when is the year, and this and that. I always chide Robert Cross about this when he gets on me about, like, why are you always talking about next year? Like, this is the year. This season has eliminated, and this team has eliminated any rationality of analysis. Because, like, who at this point, it's like, who cares? Do they have enough to beat Boston? Do they have enough to beat Minnesota? Do they have enough to beat, like, I don't even know if they have enough to beat Indiana for 2 more games. Again, we don't know. It doesn't matter. This team has our heart. And they have heart, and they have heart. All the pun intended. It defies logic. It defies logic. Thank you, Debo. Appreciate you, man. Sergio Acosta, only need any 5 Knicks to beat an entire team. Let's go, Knicks. They kind of had, they had 6 left, right? Because no OGs, so they had Deuce. You figure they're going to get Sims. Boy, oh boy, need Deuce to give you more. Need Deuce to give you more. Deuce with pride. I'll look it up right now. He was, I said, a minus 22 tonight. And this is not and it's weird because over the first handful of games of the playoffs, Deuce was like, he was killing it in terms of the plus minus. He was like up there as one of the best plus minus players in the NBA. He was a minus 22 tonight. He was a minus 13 in game 1, and he was a minus 17 in game 6. And for good measure, he was a minus 1 in game 5, the overtime loss. So this is now, let's just focus on the last 3 games. Minus 52 in the last 3 games for Deuce McBride, and a minus 52 playing 40 minutes. That's not going to get it done. I'm not saying the minus 52 in the 40 minutes is all on him. It's not. It's not. To be very clear, it's not. He has contributed to that number. You know, some of that number is earned. And we need more from Deuce. Otherwise, I just don't know that they can win the series because they need him to come in and be a serviceable body, you know, and he has not been. Thank you, Sergio. Richard David, what's going on, Richard? Let's freaking go Knicks. Let's freaking go KFS. I love all the KFS shout-outs. Thank you so much. It means a lot to us. Every single one of them, I promise you, means a lot to me and to everybody here. Their star plays better, and they lose worse. They think TJ can guard Brunson, and he says, "Get the fuck out of here," and scores while being injured. Heart, a lot of thoughts there. I like it all. Didn't matter who guarded Brunson. They haven't figured out anybody who guarded Brunson so far. He was out there doing it on one leg. Didn't matter. Still gets it done. Hero. Manny Campos, what's going on, Manny? What will the media's excuse be tomorrow? Well, I mean, look. They're going to talk about the refs because it's a talking point. I don't know what specifically they're going to talk about. Are they going to talk about the that's the thing that I haven't heard anybody say. I haven't even seen the last 2 minutes report, or not the last 2 minutes. The pool report. I haven't seen anything about the pool report. Andrew, check if I've missed something. Was there a pool report after this game?
I was about to say what pool report. There was no controversial call at the end.
So the inadvertent whistle thing, like that was just, we're fine with it. Yeah, I know the Pacers are butthurt right now, and that's fine. I'd be butthurt too. Like I don't know what but that's going to be part of the conversation because Rick Carlisle, I think, made it part of the conversation. Anyway, first it was ref bias. Now it'll be something else to cover their ass for dumb Brunson takes about not being a superstar. F Reggie, F the media. I love this team. Look, there's a lot of media out there who are doing right by the Knicks. A lot of media, a lot of very smart people who know the NBA well have been lavishing the appropriate amount of praise on this team and this player, Jalen Brunson, for quite some time now. So I don't want to group everybody in together. My opinion on that may be skewed because I know the people out there who are not worthy of my attention because I'm just busy and I don't find them particularly entertaining. So I only pay attention to the people that know what they're talking about. So like, I feel like I don't have nearly the vitriol for the national media that a lot of other people do. Again, these people are paid to attempt to entertain. They are paid because the things that they say will get people to watch them. And the more attention you give them makes those decisions that those TV executives make, warranted. I would just assume not watch and not listen, but that's me. But yeah. Anyway, thank you, Manny. Greg Film Stuff. What's going on? This was the sore foot game. Was it? I don't even know how to refer to this game. How are we going to refer to this game? Andrew, I need you to think of something because the sore foot game. I mean, that's the easiest designation, but this is more. This was about something. This was about more than that. I don't know. Brunson doing what he did in the second half is what superstars do. I know a lot of superstars that wouldn't have done that, but yes. Hate that we lost OG because his offense was coming together tonight, but they found a way. And scoring 130 with half a team. Wow. Pacers defense had a lot to do with it. I don't know if I would define this as like OG, his offense was coming together. I just think he had an amazing half. He's capable of it. We've seen him do this stuff before. He's just someone that doesn't usually put it all together in that way. He picked a good night to put it all together. They're going to miss his defense, to be very clear. Well, let me rephrase that. They're going to miss his defense, and they're going to miss his ability to knock down a corner three. Because without him out there to be a three-point threat, and again, the dude made 4 7 threes tonight, all of them big. They're not going to guard Precious to do that. Now, is Tibbs going to come up with a new wrinkle? Assuming Precious is going to start for however much time OG misses. I don't know what wrinkle you come up with. Like, they're not going to guard him, So, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. It's going to be a challenge. Kanye and Pepper. Tonight's TNT telecast was probably the worst I heard all year. Knicks against everyone, I guess. How does this team keep doing this? Hashtag this effing team. I heard it because we were doing the watch along. I heard it, but it was more like background noise for me. Again, they listen when someone tells you who they are. They did not attempt to approach this game as basketball analysts. If they attempted to approach this game as we want to provide the most even-handed, cogent broadcast possible, they wouldn't have flown Reggie Miller in to be a a cartoon character. That's all he is. He's a cartoon character for this game at least. But they did. So they told you what they wanted to do. And I bet you, if you weren't a Knicks fan, you probably loved it. So I get it. It's about ratings. It's about money. I get it. I don't blame them. I'm hoping this is the last we have to deal with it. Thank you, Kanyan. RJ's, is this how I give money? Yeah, it is. Thank you so much for the contribution, man. I'm new to this, but after that win, I want to put Macri in my will. Oh, man, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Man, it's an honor to be able to do this with you all. I'm still processing it. I appreciate the opportunity to process it with a large group of people who are as insane as I am. Man, here's a good stat. Mike Vorkunov. The Knicks bench played 49 minutes in Game 2. Josh Hart played 48. Yeah. Thank you, RJs. Eric Fernandez. What's going on, Eric? John, I'm starting to think we have the best player in the league. That means we could win it all. Also, Tibbs is God. I'm obviously here for some Tibbs love. Yeah, can we give a little shout out to the coach? Are we allowed to give a little shout out to the coach? I don't know. Andrew could call bullshit if he wants to. Typically, when teams lose players, they don't play better, and yet that's all this team seems to do. I don't know if you want to give him credit mostly for how he has instilled a certain type of culture. You want to give him credit for X's and O's. You want to give him credit for rotations. Give the man credit for something because he deserves it. And do we have the best player in the league? I'll tell you what. I'm not about to tell him that we don't. I know there's no one else that I'd rather have on my basketball team. That's without question. Bake, iron. They're fucking iron, John. I never hear Reggie Miller. If I never hear Reggie Miller again, it'll be too soon. Yeah. Iron might be the word. That might be the word of the night. Made of iron. Thank you, Bake. Jessica Elsner. Hello again, Jessica. How are you? I think they were saying fuck you, but I'm not sure, though. Josh Hart to Reggie Miller about what the crowd was loudly chanting in unison. Yes. Thank you so much, Josh Hart. Josh Hart, a legend in the making. I can't wait for that first Mike and Ike's commercial to hit. It's going to be good. It's going to hit like a ton of bricks. Thanks, Jess. Kevin Danishevsky, what's going on, Kev? How are you, man? What a treat to root for a team like this. Just don't want it to end. None of us do. None of us do. I mean, the notion that we don't get to keep experiencing this forever. And that to me is like why, I mean, there's a lot of reasons I want them to win a championship, but like if they win a championship, it officially is a forever team. You know, the 99 team will always kind of be a forever team to me because they made it about as far as they could. I want this team to be a forever team. And I wonder, like they already are. We'll see how far they go. Hope OG is okay, even if he's not confident that we can win 2 out of the next 4. Special team. 2 out of the next 5. You have 5 chances. And who knows, at this rate, you might need them all. We don't know. You get 2 more. And I to a man, they're all thinking that right now in the locker room. You got to get 2 more. Feels great. Awesome win. Legendary stuff. Storybook stuff. Cinderella stuff. Get 2 more. Get 2 more because otherwise, like, you know, not that this night gets forgotten about. This night, I will never forget about this night. None of us who watched it will ever forget about this night. But, like, you really want this night to live on forever and ever and ever and ever, go win 2 more games. And then it will. Thank you, Kev. Michael Joseph, what's going on, Michael? You literally can't kill them. They are the effing White Walkers. You might need a dragon to stop them. That's great. They are kind of the White Walkers. That's a good one. I like that one. I'm a Thrones fan. I haven't watched the newest iteration of the show. I mean, I watched the first few episodes of it. I didn't stick with it. I didn't care for it. The original show I watched though. Yeah. And there's no one they could put that any other team could put on the wall that is gonna deter us. Thank you, Michael. Armand Bernadette, what's going on, Armin? Speaking of spirituality, can we burn some incense in the Knicks locker room? What's with all these injuries? I hope OG is okay. Yeah, I mean, Benji said it. It's an overuse injury. But again, it just gets us back to the same place. It's like it's an overuse injury because he's been playing way too many minutes. Why has he been playing way too many minutes? Well, he's been playing way too many minutes because there's nobody else who could play the minutes. Because they're down Julius Randle and Bojan Bogdanovic. You know, if this team was fully healthy, Julius Randle would be playing at a minimum 36 minutes a night right now, and Bojan Bogdanovic would be playing, you know, at a minimum 12. That's 48 minutes right there. That's 48 minutes right there. You know, and like you're trying to rely on other guys, but you're also trying to win these games, and it's tough. Thanks, Armin. SMB, what's going on, SMB? How are you, man? Thank you for the very, very nice generosity here. I'm so proud of this team, I could cry. I've seen the Mets play in the World Series. I've seen the Giants win Super Bowls. I've never seen a team with more heart, guts than this damn team. Thanks for doing what you do, KFS. Thank you for the generosity. Every time somebody says, like, thanks for doing what you do, and they make a generous contribution like that, I tell myself, I'm like, man, you could be thankful and you could enjoy what we do, and you don't have to send in anything. And the fact that people choose to show their generosity like they do is, you know, it would be so easy to just enjoy this team. So thank you so much, SMB. There's no comp. There's no comp. There's no comp. That's it. There's no comp. The comp would be in football. I've talked about this before. Next man up. The comp would be in football. Like, I don't know. Is it like Jeff Hostetler winning the Super Bowl? Is that is there a closer one? I don't even know if that quite does it, because like you still had that ferocious defense. You still had Lawrence Taylor. You know, who was pretty good player. And you know, and Phil Simms, we love Phil Simms here in New York, but he's kind of more of a game manager. Jalen Brunson's not a game manager. Might have been thought of as game manager when he got drafted. Not a game manager anymore. Wild stuff. Thank you, SMB. Rich McLeod with another one. Thank you, Rich. F it, another one. The amount of crying from Knicks opponents and fans this postseason has been embarrassing. It's happening again tonight. The Knicks don't make excuses. They just win. Listen, I put out a poll on Twitter today, I think, or yesterday maybe, asking fans, does the amount of whining after game one and, all the conspiracy theory nonsense, does that detract from your enjoyment of the game one win? Not at all. A little bit, or just yes. And I think 70 some odd people, maybe mid to high 70s% of people picked not at all. And then there were people who said a little bit, and then there were people who said yes. Tonight, if you're a Knicks fan, just do yourself a favor. Don't pay attention to any of it. I'm 41. I'm gonna be 41 in a couple of days. I would not bet on for the rest of my life me having a game that makes me feel like I do right now. I'm gonna enjoy the hell out of that, and I'm not gonna pay attention to any of the nonsense. I'm not saying you are, Rich, but yeah, is it gonna be annoying if you have a favorite podcast, you have a favorite television show or whatever, and you would love to hear that show or pod or whatever? exclusively praise the Knicks' heart and toughness and effort and all those sorts of things tomorrow, as opposed to giving credence to the Pacers' complaints. Yeah, sure. Don't let it bother you. Just don't. It's not. That would be disrespecting what our team did to pay any attention to that. Rich is saying, I'm calling them out, but it's not bothering me. This is a win for the ages. Good. I'm happy to hear that, Rich. I'm happy to hear that. Kento Cato with another one. Thank you for the generosity, Kento. You're all over the place tonight. Really appreciate it, man. Seriously. No other way to put it. The team just has the it factor. When their backs are up against the wall, they not only step up to the challenge, but they exceed expectations. I love this team. Yeah. Me and you both. I can't get over what they did in that second half. When they took the lead, and I don't think, Andrew, after they took the lead, they never relinquished it, did they? I'm double-checking the Gamecast right now.
I believe you are correct.
They took the lead on the OG3, 82-79.
Mm-hmm.
From there on in, Indiana got to within one. At 102-101, that's when Josh Hart hit the three. And then Indiana got within, looking at it now, they got within 2 points. Not closer. Yeah. Crazy stuff. Thank you, Kento. Jonathan Harpula, what's going on, Jonathan? Thank you after Game 5, and thank you after this effing win. I've never loved a team like I love this one. Peeps get hurt, and they keep going. Saw Shved and Mo Taylor play, but welcome noobs. We're a long way from Shved, man. We're a long way from Alexei Shved. We're a long way from a lot of dark times. You know, talking ourselves into Lou Amundsen being a rotation player. Long way from getting genuinely excited about Keenan Allen. And I don't mean that to disparage Keenan Allen. It's more of a compliment to Keenan Allen because like that, the rest of that team was so abhorrent. Where Keenan Allen came in, you're like, oh my God, we get excited about this guy. You know, we're a long way. I mean, even going back further. You know, I mean, I love that Stephon Marbury's there. I love that Stephon Marbury's supporting the team and all that. We're a long way away from like Larry Brown and like those teams that were just like they couldn't get out of their own way, that had real talent. That's why you felt so bad. You like, you know, David Lee, Nate Robinson, you know, Wilson Chandler, Channing Frye. Al Harrington. I got my two Harringtons mixed up. Crawford, Zebo, like Marbury, Eddie Curry, like those teams had talent, but it was about coalescing that talent into something greater. And then there were some other teams who just didn't have the talent, you know. So, yeah. Come a long way, man. Come a long way. We've earned this. Danny Gardner, what's going on, Danny? Thank you also for the super chat during the live stream. The OG injury sucks, but in my opinion, the calculus changed. The calculus change. Heed for the season with the Mitch news. Oh, the calculus changed for the season with the Mitch news. Let's appreciate this team while we can. What a win. That's where I'm at. Whatever happens here, whatever happens from here on in happens. You know, the only thing that I will say is it was frustrating. Is like for a while there in this game, they just like they were losing because they just weren't playing Knick basketball. Because they were like, again, we talked about it. They were like getting beat to loose balls and like not closing out and like missing rotations that you would have hoped they would have been able to make. But then you turn around and you're like, well, why are they doing all that stuff? Because they're exhausted. So is it, like, again, I will ask, is there any scenario that could unfold in the next 5, 10, 15, 20, however many days we got left, where we're going to be like not go into the offseason just feeling like so lucky that we got this team? No. Man, can I just ask something? What did we do to Charles Barkley? Like, why is he so offended?
You're playing the clip? Put your speaker closer to the...
What did we do to Charles?
I don't think we did anything. I think you hit it earlier. It's the thing to do to make fun of New Yorkers at the moment. And look, if he wants to say the Knicks aren't good enough to win a title, nobody should know what it looks like to not be good enough to win a title than Charles Barkley.
It just that's a good line. It just seems very odd that, again, this is one of the best stories you'll ever see in sports, and a person who, in theory, should be objective when it comes to the Knicks. Because, like, the Knicks never did anything to him other than swept his ass out of the playoffs one time. Like, I don't know. It just seems so strange.
Well, what team was he on when they swept his ass out of the playoffs?
I get it, but that series is
Maybe
over.
Maybe it's a pro Philly thing. Now he's like watching it from the perspective. Look, I'm going to quote my friend John Macri. Don't pay attention to it. He's there to try and entertain, and there's more people right now that hate the Knicks than not hate the Knicks. So he's entertaining all of those people.
It is an oddity. That's
it is
the thing. It's an
and when the NBA decides to do a deal with Amazon and it breaks up that show forever, and he's forced to maybe work hard, then maybe he'll appreciate this era where he could just make fun of the feel-good story. You know, maybe that's it. The Knicks are clearly a team that works hard, and he hasn't in 30 years.
I've always appreciated Chuck because I've always felt like, for as much as Charles likes to make his jokes, there will be a point in time where he will stop and he'll be serious and be like, no, like this and that. I don't know, man. This is strange.
See, I go a different direction with that. I go to him for entertainment. And if he wants to, I like hearing his old stories about when he played basketball. I don't think he knows how to comment on today's game that well.
He's not an analyst.
Right. So why do I care about his analysis?
My commentary has nothing to do with his analysis. My commentary is it just seems like it's a strange bone to pick for someone that wouldn't seem to have a reason to pick this particular bone. That's all. It's odd to me. It's odd to me. That's all. Maybe it shouldn't be odd to me.
Listen, on behalf of big guys, Chuck, you embarrass me. Okay? You embarrass me.
Yeah, well, he's still good at what he does. All right. Danny Gardner with another one. I think Halliburton's hamstring flared up again in the second half. That's how this works, right? Yeah, apparently. I don't know. Halliburton was great in the first half. He was really good. He clearly still compromised, but I thought he was really good. And the dude was unconscious from 3 tonight. I think he hit 7-11 from deep. Again, like, there was a world where this was the Halliburton game. Except it wasn't. Because the Knicks. Thanks, Danny. The main connects. Is playoff Burks a thing? Nah, it's not a thing. They should absolutely remake that commercial with Alec Burks. I'll help fund it. I don't have a lot of money, but I'll give a few bucks. Thanks, Main Connects. That's good. That was good. Zach Horowitz, what's going on, Zach? How are you, man? Spot on spirituality take. I thought it was the best. It's the best thing I've heard. Absolutely. I might have floated for a second. The cat was looking at me real weird. The team was playing their ass off for what's BBB? Big Body Brunson. There you go, Big Body Brunson. Hallie vanishes whenever Brunson is on the court. What a wild night. Yeah, they're different players. I've said it before. I will say it again. I don't think we've seen the last of Halliburton. I don't think we've seen the last of anyone from the Pacers, because I think there's going to be a team that's going to be around for a while. He's not himself right now, and he ain't Jalen Brunson. And I don't think he's ever going to be Jalen Brunson. Just throwing that out there.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Because I've heard you and Fred and Benji and others say that like Halliburton's not Halliburton right now.
Yeah.
So we're saying that the guy that shot the anomaly of like 47% on 9 attempts for 3 months.
I know where you're going. I saw the stat. I think I apologize. I don't remember the Twitter account that did it, but someone broke down that his shooting, his season actually, it wasn't pre-injury and post-injury. There was actually like a 14 or so game stretch before the injury where the crazy shooting subsided, and then after the injury it further subsided. I think that's very fair. I think it's very fair to rationally assume that the shooting that he started out the year with was not real. And if it's not real, it calls into question like how good he's going to be. I do think he's compromised. I do think it impacts his ability to be a great player. I also think and I include myself in this because I was right on this train. We're all jumping the gun a little bit with he's a top 5, to 10 NBA player, which was where the conversation was at the beginning of the year. And even at 100%, I think you're probably, again, talking about someone that is more – I think he's going to make All-NBA teams. I'll say that. Because I think he's going to be at the forefront of, like, some of the league's best offenses, and they're going to be good teams. So those are the types of players that make All-NBA.
He had 34 points and hit 7 threes tonight. Like,
yeah.
That's why I'm like, he's not himself right now. I think he actually is. That was about as good as he could play, healthy or not healthy.
Well, I'll just say this. I hope he doesn't have many more games like this because I don't, with the Knicks being compromised, it's going to be a challenge to overcome that.
Maybe.
We'll see.
I mean, look, we'll see.
You know me. I'm always going to respect my opponent.
Well, leave it up to us to disrespect him then.
The main connects. Rest Brunson and OG for Game 3 or go for Game 3, win, and try for a sweep. Well, forget that. Listen, man. I'm not even thinking about a sweep right now. Honestly, it all depends on how Brunson feels. It depends on what their doctors say. Like, I'm not a doctor. I can't even elucidate a cogent thought as to whether there's a world where, like, giving him the game off, what is that going to mean for Game 4? What is that going to mean for Game 5? What is that going to mean for Game 6 if there is one? I have no idea. If there is such a world where, like, giving him off Game 3 is going to make their doctors are going to be like, we think that there's a probability that, like, he will be 30% more effective for Game 4 if we give him off Game 3. Well, then you have a conversation. I have no idea if that's a realistic thing. I have no idea what those conversations are like. My gut feeling is they're going to look at this and they're going to say, all right, are you good enough to play? Can you go out there and can you go out there and play some version of, like, how you usually play? If the answer is yes, and if their doctors say that him going out and playing does not increase the risk of injury outside of, like, just playing in a normal basketball game would increase the risk of injury because you're always at some risk, I think he's going to play. And again, who the hell are we to tell him not to? I don't know. Thank you, the main connects. Rob DeLuce, what's going on, Rob? JM, you beautiful bastard. Thank you. Tell my wife. You, Ben, and our man Andrew make me feel brand new with these Knicks. And F. Rick Carlisle, always and forever, yes. Nowhere near Reggie in terms of... I don't hate Rick Carlisle. I have a lot of respect for Rick Carlisle, but, yeah. Not his best night. Thanks, Rob. Appreciate you, man. Mitchell Berger, what's going on, Mitchell? Rest? Who needs it? Feet? Not that important. Hammies? Those grow back. Status? All medical. Oh, man. I love it. I really do love it. It's fantastic. It is all medical. If he says the word medical in the presser tomorrow, I'm assuming they're going to get some kind of a presser out of Tibbs tomorrow. Actually, I don't know that, but it is all medical. It is all medical. Sam Garcia's dad with another one. Winner, Brunson, unquestionable. Yeah. The ultimate winner because all he does is care about winning. And all he's going to go out there and do, he's going to do what he needs to do to win games. That's it. That's all he's going to do. Doesn't care about anything else. Alex, John Macri, born to do post-game live streams. No. Not tonight. Not tonight. I feel woefully unequipped tonight, if I'm being honest. But we try. Hush Zoo. TJ is tough for Deuce, but he's playing him too high. Yeah. I mean, that's a great call there, Hush. You want to be aggressive. You want to, but it's tough. You know what? You just actually prompted me to think of something. I don't want to spend too long on this, but I do want to see because it feels like everything TJ McConnell gets in the short mid-range. And I just want to see on long twos this year, TJ McConnell, this is according to Cleaning the Glass. This is where it's tough, man. Long twos. Now, we didn't take so we didn't take a lot of them. In 70 games this year, TJ McConnell took 40 long twos. That's 2-point shots over 14 feet. He was 45% on those. Last year, in 75 games, he took 35 of those shots. He was 49% on them. So he's been steadily increasing his shot diet on those particular shots over the last couple of years. He hits about half of them. That's better odds than what you're getting right now. The tough part is like, all right, so how far do you want to play off him? You want to play like 6, 7, 8 feet off of him? Then it's tough because then it's like, we see Josh Hart do this because you're giving him this runway. And if you give him that runway, and then it's like, all right, so now I'm playing 8 feet off of him. All right, well, if he's going full tilt, well, I got to start backing up, right? I got to start backing up. And all of a sudden, it's like you've just given a guy a runway into a 10-footer or a 12-footer, and then TJ from short mid-range, 300 short mid-rangers this year. My Lord. In 70 games. He had 51% of them. That's absurd. Last year, he was at 50% on 206 attempts. Like, this is what this guy does. So, I think the way to guard TJ is you got to guard him with a combination of size and speed. I like Hart getting a chance on that. I like DiVincenzo getting a chance on that. I don't love it for Deuce. We'll see if Deuce could be better. Thanks, Hush. James Bucchio. What's going on, James? I hope I pronounced that last name correctly. First time, long time. Thanks. Welcome aboard. Great to have you. There was a possession early in the third where Isaiah Hartenstein followed Halliburton all around the floor, even chased through a screen so JB didn't have to switch. Ends with an iHeart block and an OG layup. Amazing. Let's go, Knicks. I vaguely, because I was, again, the third quarter was something else. I vaguely recall that. And you said it ended with an OG dunk. So I have the Hart block here. I think the one you're talking about, you're saying it was early in the third. So, yeah. Isaiah Hartenstein was outstanding. Isaiah Hartenstein was a force of nature. Needed to do everything he did for them to win this game. Needed to take on the tough challenge, as you're alluding to right now. Fantastic point. Truly. And again, I tried to put a number on at the beginning of the postgame. I don't know how many elite defensive possessions there were in the second half of that game. There were at least a dozen. And if we go back and rewatch it, we could find that there were 15 or closer to 20. I don't know. But that was one of them. Fantastic job, James, pointing that out. Rich Conforti, what's going on, Rich, my man? 25 years of whatever it was, and it was all worth it. It was all worth the wait for Brunson and this group. Love this team. Love KFS. Appreciate you, Rich. Appreciate our back and forths. And, yeah, man, hard not to love it. Hard not to be swept up in the emotion, too. Thank you, Rich. Maple Maxo. I feel like we haven't heard from Maple Maxo for a while. What's going on, man? At the game tonight on the Chase Bridge with my dad. Oh, that must have been so cool. I'm jealous, obviously. Let it be known I got the F Reggie chant going. It was you. It was you. You're good, you. Can we win 2 more without OG? Yeah, we can. We can. It's not going to be easy. Precious is going to have to give us some of the games of his life. I think we're going to need Sims minutes. Like, I think they could do... Like, here's the thing. Like, you don't want to ask this of them, but, like, it's a question of, like, can they do it with 7 guys? I'll tell you this. I believe in Jericho Sims. I believe in Jericho Sims, and despite the fact that he wasn't great tonight, I believe in Precious Achiuwa. Now, look, you'd love to get one of these next 2 games. Again, that's the thing. You'd love to get one of these next 2. And obviously, if you get game 3, you'd love to just get game 4 and be done with the thing. You'd love to get one of these next 2 games. If you don't, is it the end of the world? No, it's not the end of the world. You'd love to try to get one of the next 2. Yeah. And then go from there. Thank you, Maple Maxo. Davey Vickner, what's going on, Davey? How are you doing, man? Carlisle complained about the refs. The free throw differential was at their season average, and the fouls were about the same. Let me know when they get the Game 3 treatment we got in round 1. Yeah, I mean, look, it is what it is. I mean, I'll read the stats right now. Knicks tonight finished with... We finished with 22 free throws. They had 17. Yeah, I mean, come on. How about this, Rick? 57% from the field your team gave up field goals. 46.7% from 3. And how about this? Rick? Y'all missed 7 free throws. You got to the line 17 times. You missed 10 of them. Or 7 of them, excuse me. Turned the ball over 9 times. This team never turns the ball over, the Pacers. They turned it over 9 times tonight. And the Knicks capitalized on those opportunities. Knicks turned it over 11 times. Pacers got 14 points off that. Pacers turned it over 9 times. Knicks got 14 points off that. And, you know, maybe tell your team to keep us off the glass. Now, I know that's part of your complaint, but still. 44-34. Rebounding margin. Lots to look in the mirror about if you're Indiana, and I'm not hearing it tonight. Sorry. Thank you, Davey. Goodness. I need a hold on. Andrew, come up here. Where are you here?
Yeah, what's up?
Hold on. I have to grab a bottle. I have to pour myself a little something to toast this gentleman.
Okay. Deal. So what John, for the listeners, is reacting to is a very generous super chat from Makai Jaidi. Apologies if we got that name wrong.
I hope I didn't.
But thank you.
Toast to you, Makai. Appreciate y'all and the work you do. I love how Andrew just keeps drinking from the bottle. It's fantastic.
Where else am I going to drink it, John? Woo!
Glassware. Don't want it to end anytime soon. The Brunson injury was a shot to the heart. The OG hamstring pop had me in tears. I wanted to see the potential of this team, and OG was hitting his stride a little too literally. Yeah. Here's what I'll say. And I said some version of this earlier, so I apologize if I'm repeating myself. Part of why we feel the way that we feel about this team is I don't know that we would be where we are at from an emotional standpoint if they were healthy. And I point that out here. That may seem obvious. Okay. It is. But the reason I point it out is because I just, for the life of me, the notion that they were going to, without Julius Randle, and now without Bojan Bogdanovic, and now without Mitchell Robinson, the notion that they were going to get through two more, like, first of all, they need to get past this round. Let's assume they do. The notion they're going to get past Boston, presumably, and then get past whoever comes out of the West, at that bloodbath, my God. Because I can tell you right now, whoever comes out of the West, like, I want to try as best as we can to not focus on the what if and the what can't be this year, because it's all part of the story of why we feel the way we feel about this team. And I guess what I'm saying is it's like it'll be our year. Like, the basketball gods, all they keep telling us is it's not your year, right? With all these injuries, they keep telling us it's not your year. It's not your year. It's not your year. I just don't want that to get us down, you know. And I'm not saying it is getting you down, Makai. I'm not phrasing this very well at all. But like, I guess. Okay, here's the best way I could put it. If they had a mostly full complement of players to the point where like you thought like, all right, they actually have enough to get through two more rounds. And if that was the case and an injury like this happened, then we'd be beside ourselves, because it's like, oh my God, this was our chance after all these years, after 50 whatever years, 51 years. So I guess what I'm saying is like I'm no better than everybody else who's calling who is counting this team out, because I just don't think you can win a championship with like 6 players or 7 players, whatever it is. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm appreciating what we have. I'm appreciating the moment. I'm trying to live in the moment. And if it is end up being one injury too many to the point where, like, you know, we can't get past someone, it is what it is. But like this, stuff happens. I don't think this is our last best shot. I'll tell you that. You know, I don't know what they're going to do this summer. This is not our last best shot. I can promise you that. Thanks, Makai. That one got me thinking. That's because, man, they're close. They're close. This Boston team is not. They have an Achilles heel. Anyway, Bryce Biskey, what's going on, Bryce? Josh Hart is the 2015 Mets Daniel Murphy. That's an interesting comp. I think he's a better player than Daniel Murphy. I think. I remember 2015 Daniel Murphy very well. I remember that run. Yeah. That's a nice comp. I like it. Sergio Acosta. I want GMAC to always have the background music.
Got that right. Reggie Miller can get some. Oh, no, I took your line. John, Reggie Miller can
get some. SG, what does that say? SG.
I believe that's S. Gill.
S. Gill. When Brunson came back out in the second half, it was equivalent to that scene in Karate Kid Part 1. Daniel LaRusso is going to fight. And then someone from the Pacers bench yelling, "Put him in a body bag, Johnny." No, not tonight. Not on our watch. Not on Jalen Brunson's watch. That's a great callback. Sam L, what's going on, Sam? Great to hear from you as always, especially with the Willis Reed. What is that? Not the Avatar. That's what it was. That you've always had. TNT's broadcast is so anti-Knicks. Well, obviously they flew fucking Reggie in. Come on. You know, it's like flying Donald Trump in to moderate a Democratic debate. I mean, He wasn't there for his analysis. Let's just say that. Got to be a marketing thing at this point. Sometimes being the cornerstone of NBA viewership has its drawbacks. Well, I'd love NBC to get it back. That's what I'll tell you. I don't know if they will, or Amazon or whatever, but yeah. Thanks, Sam. Sam Garcia's dad with another one. The generosity tonight, Sam. Seriously, thank you again. Toast to you. A lot of you may be too young to remember, but the best Josh Hart comps I can come up with in New York sports history is Lenny Dykstra on the 86 Mets and Adam Graves on the Cup-winning Rangers. He was Messier's Robin, and Hart is JB's Robin. I remember Adam Graves. I remember, Messier and then obviously Richter and goalie. Graves was probably the third guy on that team, right? Andrew has a better memory on that than me. I'm too young for Dykstra. I when I think of the 86 Mets, I think of obviously Strawberry and Doc and Keith and maybe Dykstra after that. I don't know. Andrew, you're better for this than me.
So, look, the Adam Graves comp is good.
I feel like that's a good one.
But the problem with it's why the Daniel Murphy comp really is the best one we've heard so far. It's because Josh Hart has become the second best player on this team for the majority of the playoffs, and Daniel Murphy turned into Barry Bonds for 7 games during the first 2 rounds of those.
Up until the World Series.
Up until the World Series. But like for the portion of the playoffs that Daniel Murphy and Josh Hart have gotten to at this point,
yep,
their output is comparable. When I'm looking up right now to raise comparison of Lenny Dykstra, because he was probably the 7th most important player on that team in 1986, and okay. I'm trying to see
who was their second best pitcher after Doc.
So Ojeda won 18 games that year. He led the team with wins and had a decent ERA and pitched against the Astros in Game 2, a legendary complete game that got him back in the series. But like that's the thing, the team was built on pitching. So Ronnie Darling pitched well.
Darling, that's a name I didn't say.
That season. Sid Fernandez pitched well. And then they had these 2, like nowadays your closer goes 1 inning. The Knicks had McDowell and Orozco going 4 and 5 innings, like just like, oh, you're leaving the game, we'll take over from here, you know. But
so he wasn't quite as high on the depth chart as what.
But what I want to look up to Ray's point is like, did he have like an outstanding playoff and I'm not remembering it? All right, he had an 892 OPS. That's not bad.
Okay. I'm sure Busy's loving the baseball talk.
It's not. That's the problem with the comp is like what Josh Hart is doing is so like it would be like if Dykstra pitched and hit like and Josh Hart's literally not leaving basketball games and like performing at a high level, and it seems to be getting better as the game is going on, while TJ McConnell, if you ask Pacers fans and writers and reporters, like runs out of steam and can only give them 24 minutes despite looking somewhat unstoppable. I don't hate the comp though, Ray. I don't hate the comp. Nails is a good comp.
It's a lot of role players. They're role players in part because they can only play so many minutes. It's part of what being a star is. Thanks, Ray. I appreciate that. That was good little walk down memory lane there. Mike C, what's going on, Mike? Sat in my same seat at MSG where I saw Game 5 collapse last round and thought, damn, we can't catch a break. Q Brunson coming back out at halftime in the Garden chanting MVP. Damn, I love this guy. That's so cool. That's so cool that you got to see that in person. I can't even imagine what it must have been like to be there. Can't even imagine. Incredible stuff. Glad. I hope you were chanting with everybody. Thanks, Mike. And then here's another one from Makai. What's going on? Speaking of ending it at some point, do you think players watching from Cancun want to play with a player like Brunson? The narrative of the Pacers during the season is everybody wants to play with Hallie. You're bringing up some great stuff. I think there will be an arms race to come play on this team. That's my prediction. And it's not going to be for everybody. look, I've talked about it already. The Tibbs stuff, that's very real. Like, there are just a lot of players who were like, fuck this. I'm getting paid a lot of money. I want to enjoy those. I want to reap those rewards without putting myself through hell. You know, it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. But there are players out there who are watching what is going on here. And they are watching what Jalen Brunson is doing. And they're saying, oh, shit. Now, I see what's – and by the way, they're watching this. They may not be watching me right now talk about your comment, but they're watching all of this. And they are saying, holy Jesus, Lord. Josh Hart. Josh Hart was a 30th pick in the draft. He's a nice player. Nice player. He's a god. He's a god in New York. He's never going to pay for another meal in Manhattan for as long as he lives. He's never going to pay for another drink. Like, what happens if I go there and I'm one of the best players on a team that wins a championship? And I know I don't have to do it by myself because I know there's another guy there. You have to think there's some folks that are looking. So, yeah. Kevin Danishevsky with another one. Thank you, Kevin. Can we talk about how good OG was pre-injury? Yeah, we did. I tried to pay it the proper amount of homage. Kept him in the game. Best player of the first half. Easily the best player of the first half. And he made some big time plays in the third quarter too. Don't win the game without him. Boy, am I going to have a devil of a time with stars of the game tomorrow. Woo, Nelly. Hardenstein's going to finish 5th. Dom Cappuccini. What's going on? I was waiting to hear from you, Dom. JB achieving legend status before our eyes. Why not win a ring with this point guard? They will at some point. I think they will. I believe they will. In my heart of hearts, I believe they will. I don't know if it's this year, but I believe they will. Thank you, Dom. And Dom with another one. Before JB's return, I was getting a little depressed at the half. You know, appropriate, man. Appropriate. We were doing the halftime Zoom. Again, shout out to all the Knicks Film School newsletter subscribers who come and do the Zoom with me every halftime. And it was right before your comment, or right before you had your hand raised, but right before you spoke, that we got the update that Jalen Brunson was on the court practicing free throws. Come on. Can't tell me that's not a little symbolic, something about that. I don't know. Anyway, the Pacers offense looked pretty sustainable to me. Then halftime came at the best time again. I mean, their defense really cleaned up. They gave up 50. They gave up 71 points in the first half, and they gave up, I believe, 50 points in the second half. That's pretty good. It's pretty good defensive improvement. They did what they needed to do. Thank you, Dom. Alex. The season is over, John. At least we have our pick. Still the comment of the year. It's still the comment of the year. There's some other good ones, but that's still the comment of the year. And it was made so genuinely, too. Alex with another one. It's hard to believe that Hart wasn't in the playoffs before last year. Great call. Dude is built for the pressure. Pressure situations. Can't believe people say he's overpaid. I think a little tongue in cheek there from Alex. No, but look, it's because it's, you know, we have a lot of really smart people that analyze this sport, and there was a lot of logical reasons to look at Josh Hart and be like, man, do we really want to be paying a $72 million extension to a role player who can't shoot? I get it. I love Josh Hart, but I get it. I got it. You sometimes sometimes basketball doesn't exist in theory. Actually, it never exists in theory. It exists on the court. And Josh Hart it defies all logic. Thank you, Alex. Sam L. with another one. Obligatory F. Jaime Jaquez Jr. with a fork. With a fork? That sounds painful. That sounds very painful. But yes. Reggie Miller with a rusty piece of splintering wood. Mythic Monty. At this game, dejected at halftime and heard the crowd build to a roar when Brunson came out. Legit chills. This is what it means to have a top 5 MVP. Yeah, it's MVP night tonight. Career night. Career night for JB. And he didn't score 40. It was career night. Thanks, Mythic Monty. Sam Garcia's dad with another one. How dare you question Rick Carlisle's lineup choices? Brunson wasn't good enough for him. Well, you want to talk about an FU? We've shared some FUs tonight. All appropriate, by the way. Benched him. Benched him 3 years ago. So Jalen Brunson is now 6 years into his NBA career. Halfway through that career, Rick Carlisle looked at him and said, "Nope, you're not good enough to help me win this basketball series against the Clippers in the first round in 2021." And that motivated Brunson even more than he was already to make it so that never again would a coach be able to look at him and say, "No, this guy's not good enough to help me win a basketball game tonight." And he did what he needed to do to improve. He did what he needed to do. I think that was the beginning. That was the beginning of the revolution of his three-point shot, which now is at a point where it's funny. I was thinking about it before the game tonight. I was like, man, Brunson really hasn't gotten going from three. And sure enough, tonight he pulls out a 3 of 6 from deep. All tough looks, or mostly tough looks. Thanks, Sam. Ray, excuse me. Confusing you with your son. Dom Cappuccini with another one. I hope OG is back sooner rather than later. This team, I will not doubt them. They just need 2 more with or without OG. Just go get them. I think we're all at that point, Dom, where it's just like figure out a way to get 2 more. And then you get to Boston, and whatever happens. Whatever happens. You know? And look, they're not going to think about it that way. If they get 2 more and they get to Boston or Cleveland, I suppose. Well, if they got to Cleveland, that's a whole different story. I don't even know what will have had to have happened for Cleveland to win that series. Let's assume it's Boston. They're going to get to Boston, and they're not for a second going to look at that and like, well, we did it. Mission accomplished. They're going to be like, okay, 4 more games to the finals. Let's go. That's how they're going to look at it. We're not looking at it like that. Well, a few of us are. Robert Cross, hello. They're not going to look at it like that. Thank you, Dom. Dom with another one. Sorry, I'm spinning a dreidel. I know Indy is probably far from done, but nevertheless, I will be rooting so hard for a sweep than I could ever imagine. Why not now? Let's freaking go Knicks. If they freaking sweep this team, I'm not going down that road, Dom. I'm sorry. I can't go down that road right now. I just want 2 more games. I don't care if it takes them 7. I want 2 more games. Give me 2 more wins. Whatever it takes. Other Alex, this team deserves all of the roses. I'll wait till the offseason to debate issues like what to do with the backup point guard spot and whether MSG should retrofit an ER. They should have, you know what they should have? We've been doing a lot of baseball crosstalk tonight. They should have the cart, you know, that comes out when a player gets injured. They should have that in MSG, ready to take a player back to the ambulance that's waiting, and the ambulance takes them to the ER.
Ain't that football?
Baseball has a little cart, doesn't it? The bullpen cart?
Oh, that cart. I thought you were literally talking about a medical cart, though. Only like two teams use the bullpen cart, and they brought it back last year.
Oh, I thought more teams.
Yeah.
Had it. Okay.
I think it used to be Philly. That was the famous one that the vet had it because the Fanatic used to drive you to the mound. But
I just think about Major League, and he drives the bullpen cart to Rene Russo's house to have intercourse with her.
That is what happens in that movie. Yes. Thank you, other Alex.
Sorry if I spoiled that for anybody who doesn't see Major League. Other Alex, reminding all Sixers fans who think adding Paul George is winning the offseason that we'll find a way to get TJ McConnell or Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and they'll be more impactful. TJ McConnell, what's his contract situation? Jesus.
He's one more year.
Yeah, he has one more year at $9.3 million. One of the best bargains in the NBA. Credit to that dude. He's not young. Oh, he's 32 years old. Man, he's older than I would have thought. That's tough. He's never going to get a huge payday probably because of that. That's rough. Brian Less, what's going on, Brian? Appalled that J-Max cab driver started that chant. It's not my cab driver. It's a cab driver that watches the show. He's appalled at the language tonight. That's the problem. Thank you, Brian. El Coriano 11, what's going on? El Coriano 11. Is this season the biggest emotional roller coaster in terms of highs, playoffs, and lows pre-OG trade during your fandom? Very special season. No. No, it is not. I've said this before. I'll say it again. Last season was the biggest emotional roller coaster I've ever had. Because last season started off with a lot of promise. We had gotten Jalen Brunson. Feel like we corrected the wrongs of the previous year with the Kemba and the Fournier of it all. And it wasn't horrible out of the gate. Like, they were above 500, they were above 500, they were above 500. But there were no quality wins, and there were some god-awful losses. And then it cratered with the Dallas game. I don't know that I've ever felt as low when the team was, like, supposed to be good. I don't know that I've ever felt as low as I did after that game in Dallas, where I was like, holy shit, it's broken. And then they won 8 in a row. And then if they won 8 in a row, I'm pretty sure they lost like 5 in a row or 4 in a row because Brunson was hurt a little bit. And like then you had the second Dallas game, but preceded by the Bulls game where they lost in the final seconds. And then there were some low lows there, even after they had righted the ship. And then they started playing better, and then it was mostly good. And then you got the Josh Hart trade. And then, whoop, off you went. So this season, to me this season, the first 2.5 months pre-OG trade was kind of like a big, like, okay. You know, it was like a brief, like, we beat a good team moment that we all had. They did start 2-4. Don't forget that. December they were the worst defense in the league. That wasn't fun, but they like kept eking out wins. And then the OG trade happened, and then the Randall injury and the whole thing. But like, I've never been down. Like I won't speak for anybody else. Me, I was like, man, that's really unfortunate. But that's all it ever was. I was like, that's unfortunate. That sucks. That's annoying. That's not annoying. It was more than annoying. It was just unfortunate. That's the only word. But I was never like upset because it was like, all right, shit happens. It's out of your control. It sucks. You move on. How do we move on? And every time we asked that question, how do we move on? They answered the bell tenfold. And that's why I don't know that I would define this particular season as an emotional roller coaster for me. Others, it probably was more of one, but for me, last season was more of if the definition of roller coaster is like ups and downs, that was more last season for me. Thanks, El Coriano. Walt Clyde Fraser. That's creative. I like that. Apologies for the sleep deprivation. No, man. No apologies needed whatsoever. We love doing this. This is what we do. After the Sixers series, feels like the Knicks are energized going against the Pacers defense. MSG crowd feeds into it too. I think the crowd was huge in this game. I think the crowd, especially after halftime, was huge in this game. I think just seeing this defense after the Philly defense, because Philly's defense is legit. This defense that they're going up against right now is not legit. And they have them flustered. Everybody's playing with. That's the thing. Now it's not just about stopping Brunson, because now DiVincenzo has confidence, and Hart has confidence, and Hartenstein has confidence, and OG had confidence, and now we'll see where he is. You got to get a couple more guys in the running here, but they'll get there. They'll get there. Believe in Precious. Believe in Deuce. Believe in Sims. Zach with another one. Set it in L.A. JB's the closer. Includes this season. Yeah, man. He's as good a closer as there is in the league. It's really cool stuff. I am AK Legend. Still can't believe what I just saw. This fucking team. Hashtag. Got the t-shirt here. Why not now? Well, I don't know why not now. Not after tonight. All logic ceased to exist. Up is down. Down is up. Cats and dogs. Living together. Mass hysteria. Beyond reason. Beyond comprehension. And frankly, beyond the emotional capacity that I thought I had as a sports fan. It's as if it's like a wave pool that's going over the wall. And our minds, our brains, our hearts, or our souls, or whatever, are only trained to handle so much as fans of a team. And this is just it's going over and over and over and over, and we're drowning in this. And it's the best type of drowning. And you don't want to be rescued. And you just want to live in it day after day after day. This team makes you not want to end this journey with them. You don't want to end it. I don't want to end it. I never want this to end. I hope everybody's enjoying it. I hope I thank you everybody for the generosity tonight, obviously, but more than the generosity, thank you everybody for everybody here, every Knicks fan worth their salt. They knew the assignment tonight, whether they were in the arena or they're watching halfway across the world. This was about giving complete and total praise to a team that has given us so much, and just saying thank you. And I can't believe what you're doing. That's all this is about. So, on that note, I cannot thank you enough for watching tonight. If you're watching the replay, if you're listening on the pod, thank you for that too. You could also show your generosity by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, obviously giving a 5-star review, or if you feel so inclined, take a few minutes, review the podcast, leave some kind words. All that stuff really helps us out. It helps us continue to grow and be what we hope to be for Knicks fans, again, all over the world. It's the best fan community in the sport. That's, and the last thing, I'll end here. Last thing I'll say, there are so many great Knicks fans out there. And I'm lucky enough in my position where so many people reach out to me and talk to me about what Knicks Film School has meant to them. And through those conversations, I hear about so many people whose lives whose lives have been intimately affected by this team. Relationships with fathers and sons and brothers, and sports are the tie. It's the tie that binds, and this team is giving us something that we are sharing it with those of us who are closest to us. And it gives us something we'll be able to bond over for the rest of the time that we watch this team. And I think a lot of that came out tonight, where people were just like, man, we always get to take this with us. And the fact that we all get to share this together, and I get to share it with everybody in what is the best community in sports is just feel very privileged to be part of that, and I hope everybody else enjoys it as well. So thank you, everybody. Appreciate everybody watching, and we will be back with more fun and games before you know it.